Perspective and Artificial Intelligence in Power Plant. Dan selaku moderator adalah Bapak Iwayan Arimbawa. Untuk itu acara kami serahkan kepada Pak Iwayan Arimbawa.
Okay. Thank you, Pak Fevi, Mas Abi. Good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Dear Honorable CEO of PT Indonesia Power, Mr. Hasin Sidki, Dear Honorable Board of Commissioner, Mr. Muhammad Umar, Dear Honorable Board of Directors, PT Indonesia Power, General Managers, Senior Leaders, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to have a presentation from Mr. Supawit. Swadikap, Mr. Supawit, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Yes. Thank you. We are very happy to hear that. We would like to say thank you to Mr. Supawit taking off your busy schedules to join us this morning and share your valuable insights about data and artificial intelligence. Before the presentation begin, allow us to introduce the presenters. This is Mr. Supawit Ken Udon. He's the Industry Advisor, Critical Infrastructures, Power Utilities, Microsoft Asia Pacific. Graduated from King Mongkut University of Technology, Thonburi, majoring computer engineering. Okay, without further ado, I would like to welcome Mr. Supawit to deliver the presentations. All right, Mr. Supawit, the screen is yours.
Thank you so much. Can you let me know if you can see my screen that I'm sharing right
now? Ready.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure. And like I said, I'm Supawit Kenudon. Basically, I'm working as an industry advisor for critical infrastructure, including power utilities at Microsoft Asia Pacific team. And, in response to the digital transformation team that, we are working today, the topic that I'll be sharing today, basically how we can integrate the business operation, leveraging data and AI, in the path of becoming the power plant of the future. So, with my agenda, basically, there are three things I'll be covering today. Number one is the power plant, motion, and from a Microsoft view, right? And as we are working with our customer in power utility across the world, on their sustainability and digital transformation journey. Second, to achieve that sustainability and digital transformation vision, what are the areas that we should look at, and some of the use cases that I'll be highlighting that we can bring in technology to empower our expertise in the power plant operation. And third, if we on board with those vision use cases, how can we start, right? The digital transformation is not equal to technology alone, but together with people and process. So how can we bring all of those stakeholders together in this journey? So that's really, really important. So, okay, let's start with the first one, the industry trend that, we as a Microsoft, we are seeing from, a technology enabler. Number one, needless to say, energy transition, right? We are in the era that we are witnessing the significant change in energy transition from a conventional to clean power, right? So most of our power utility customer around the world, they are ramping up their renewable energy capacity in responding to their country's carbon neutrality goal and the change of consumer demand and higher expectation, which is already, a really, really evolving area in terms of the consumer behavior, market model, and the regulation standard for energy trading and consumption. Number two, efficiency across the operation, right? So while we are talking about a rapid change in energy transition, this change doesn't happen overnight. So how we can make sure that ourselves, we are prepared for that. And until then, how can we sustain our current business operation, leveraging the high technology, data analytics, collaboration tool that can help improve the efficiency and reduce the carbon emission in our current operation. And the second, capturing knowledge across the organization and responding to the knowledge decline because of so many reasons. Retirement, that's one thing. Second could be specific domain knowledge, especially that the power plant, we rely heavily on the, the specific domain in the field operators, right? So, how can we make sure that we can capture this knowledge across the business process with the organization so we can use this knowledge to empower our people more and more as well. And third, if there is one thing that we learned from the pandemic in the past 2 years, is resilience. How can we make sure that we always have 100 visibility of the current operation and ensure that we are ready if we have to operate everything remotely again? And number three is sustainability and go beyond kilowatt hour strategy for the new S-curve business. As we are witnessing, the challenges, the disruption within the industry itself, especially sustainability, right? Sustainability has been a really top priority in driving and shaping business direction for every company in power utilities, oil and gas, and similar to other industry as well, on how we operate our business today and how we engage our supplier and what kind of products that we are delivering to our customer. Which challenges also result in a new tremendous opportunity to really co-create and innovate the new business opportunity. For example, carbon offset, low carbon tax innovation, energy as a service, smart home, e-mobility, and so on. So with all of the industry motion that, like I mentioned previously, here's how we are seeing our key critical infrastructure customer like yourself are driving and shaping their strategy as they move towards the new goal. Number one, a big vision. A big vision is really, really important, like a vision that always go beyond the business that we're doing today. And I believe that every company has that big vision, right? But how can we make sure that that big vision itself is transparently communicated to our employees at all levels on why it matters to them and how they can be that significant contributor to this vision itself. The foundation of any transformation that happens in the organization always starts from people, right? So if we make sure that we include every single person within the company in this transformation journey, that's really great. Number two, how we operate our business today has to change from a vertically operated business unit, how we can make sure that we integrate and cut across business unit horizontally. Every move that we make, every trigger the assets perform, create a huge, tremendous amount of data. How can we make sure that we capture those data and make use of it to empower our people? Number three, most of the companies that we work with, I'd start by identifying the area that they think technology could improve the efficiency. And now I'll be sharing a little bit on those use cases as well later. And, like with those use cases itself, we start the small pilot to prove that business assumption together with our business user and the plant operator and IT people, taking the pilot approach to prove the business value in a quick win time span and see whether, like from that quick win itself, from the result, whether can we scale to the production stage for a bigger impact to drive the much bigger business outcome. And number four, which is really important, after we have some pilots, we build the momentum in the organization. More people participating from both business and IT, making this an agenda for everyone that, digital transformation can happen from every single person in our business process. Even though, like we reduce just a few clicks, that's already a digital transformation because basically that's the improvement of the business agility. Empower business users with the self-service analytics platform and strengthen and like the security and governance model with our IT department. So we heard about how Microsoft, we are seeing the movement, the motion in the industry, right? So here is how we contribute and support our customer. So many of us probably have experience and engaged Microsoft, like from Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or even a collaboration tool. Right, but today, we changed from a technology licensing company to a cloud platform provider, ranging from like modern work, business application, professional talent network like LinkedIn, data and AI, application infrastructure, and even a like open source community like GitHub. With this wide range of offering, as a platform, we also have a very comprehensive partner ecosystem that helps support and strengthen our, sustainability and digital transformation mission to our customer like yourself, end-to-end at the enterprise scale, transforming the business processes, leveraging, technology like data, AI, digital twins, mixed reality, and so on. And that also changed the way that we work with our customer as well. from a transactional engagement to a strategic partnership to drive the business outcome with our industry differentiated technology offering. And here are just only, like some of the key partners that we are working with to drive the digital transformation in power utility industry. And I'm seeing that, like one of our key partners is also our next speaker, Aviva as well. So really looking forward to that. And okay, so talking about, the actual work that, Microsoft is contributing to our customer alongside with our partner, right? So, here are the four main key pillars that we are typically talking to our customer when, we get asked the question that we need to transform, but where do we start, right? Because we understand that the way that we transform, especially in the enterprise business, it's not going to be just only one angle area, but there are, multiple areas that we should look at, right, from different point of view. So from us, we are seeing in four areas. Number one, operate for the future. Basically, we are looking at how we can improve the operational efficiency, agility. Number two is transform your workforce. Basically, we're talking about, how we can capture the knowledge, making sure that everyone, can collaborate seamlessly. And, like how we can enhance, like the skill of people, especially that right now we are talking about how we can upskill and reskill, from the digitalization, to the people. One of the misperceptions that, people think is that when we talk about digital, it's only IT, but that's not true. Digital should be embedded in, every business process, and, eventually it's everyone all together that can make that happen, right? And number three, transition to clean, needless to say, we're talking about, how we can measure the carbon emission throughout the core value chain. And if the company, has to do the carbon accounting scope 1, 2, and 3, that's how we work with our customer. And number three, like last but not least, reimagine energy. We are seeing this evolving area that, most of our energy customers are not doing just only energy anymore. They are expanding their business, like leveraging their specialization and provide that as a service, like on a digital platform. And there will be one use case that I want to highlight on this as well later. And provide this to, other customer. So that could be the go beyond, like kilowatt hour strategy for, like the company like yourself as well. But today, with the topics that I'll be sharing and the use cases, I'll be mostly focused on the first one, which is the operate for the future, on how we can increase our, operational efficiency and resilience by integrating data across the business unit. And if there is any interest in other area, I'm happy to have another sharing session as well. Okay, so the first use case that I'll be sharing today is this is with one of our like leading European power utility company, similar to the common challenges that everyone is in this industry is facing, right? Number one, the lack of visibility across the business operation. Every business unit only have the visibility in their business, in their line of business. But the reality is sometimes we just need to integrate with other people, right? And that's where the gap is. Number two, the increased pressure to operate the plant in the optimum condition across all shifts to keep the cost as low as possible. Number three, with the declining knowledge base due to the retirement of the experienced field operator, which makes it hard, like to transition the work, between shifts, and the standardization on how we operate as well. So, like this inefficiency itself, also lead to the slow response to the overall, plant management and operation, which also resulted in a high carbon emission throughout the power generation process as well. So we, together with our partner, Tata Consulting Services, help this customer by trying to understand their business direction, their KPI, and where they need to optimize this to improve the business agility, right? Bringing in together the data across the operation, distributed control system, lab information management system, and so on, to link that with the data from IT system like or other field services and so on, to create a horizontally integrated common data model with the dependency and relationship on the assets performance, equipment, people, and work order. So we have a full visibility of, like how the operation works and how that link into the supporting function. Because in the enterprise business, we have so many data, but that's not consolidated and that's spread it out in many systems, right? And most of the time we need to have our people to really double check and look at the different reports. So that's the bottleneck that we are seeing, that we could improve the efficiency. So after we build this common data model, on top of this we align with the business priorities, and then we take the pilot approach, by identifying, the area that we could improve, and then implementing the quick wins. By quick win, basically, there are just only two conditions. Number one, something, like huge impact, but low dependency, which means that's something that we can, implement quickly just to prove the business assumption, whether that's true and whether that demonstrates the value. And, that we think that, we can scale from the pilot itself into the production. So take one example, carbon emission, right? So the problem statement that we had back then was like, if we could optimize the efficiency of how the boilers work in real time, we might potentially be able to reduce the carbon emission throughout this process. So the team on the ground, consolidated and aggregated the real-time data from the sensor. I remember it was like 2,000 something, sensor, just to make sure that we understand how the boilers are working at a time, as much as possible. And then, we put those data, which is, like real-time data and data in the past, to make sure that we also understand the behavior as well, to create a digital twin for boilers. And on top of the data, on how the boilers work, we also put in some relevant condition, whether it's like weather, cold condition from the lab information management system into, our digital twins as well. So this digital twin, provide the real-time insight on the current setting of, the boiler. And basically over time, this digital twin itself, learn about how the boiler behaves, about their behavior, and, try to create like that machine learning and predict, and also give a recommendation on what would be the optimization strategy to assist the operator. So the operator can, take this, recommendation and then improve and adjust the setting in real time, to respond to the to variation in fuel properties and also the fluctuating power demand as well. So I have a video that show the look and feel of how this is being done. Let me know if you can hear the sound.
Digital twin is a cyber-physical system that helps simulate, support, and even substitute human decision-making to solve complex problems across industries. For example, in a thermal power plant, it is a challenge to reduce operation costs and maintenance costs, and to reduce emissions to meet regulatory norms. So to address these complex problems, TCS created a first-of-its-kind digital twin behavioral model of the boiler, leveraging its process and equipment analytics, optimization and control framework that collects data from around 2,500 sensors on the boiler and induces the power of analytics and artificial intelligence into the system. The built-in AI models learn the boiler behavior, capture the boiler knowledge, and give real-time suggestions for the operators, thereby augmenting the human experience to provide insights into boiler settings, insights that even the experts cannot provide. This solution has helped our customers to reduce the combustion tuning time, reduce the operation costs, cut down maintenance costs, and even reduce the overall emissions. The energy getting saved in this process can be used to power at least 400,000 homes a day. The TCS Artificial Intelligence solution, which is an outcome of 20 years of research in data science and physics, is a robust solution for complex business problems.
Just to maybe explain a little bit more about the digital twins concept, right? So basically, when we talk about digital twins, we're trying to create the replica of the physical assets. And in this case, basically, it is that boiler system, right? So the digital replica consists of, number one, it has to link with the physical form. So, like the the sensor, the data from the sensor is really, really important for us to really replicate that physical form in the digital, form. And the meaning of why we need to create that digital replica, right? Because, sometimes especially when we do optimization, we cannot test, our business assumption on that physical asset, because that might have some, impact to how we run our operations, right? So the beauty of, having digital twin is that you have a simulation of what could be possible. You test it in a digital form, and this digital twin basically learn the behavior and use this, to give the recommendation whether it works. And once it works, basically we can use this and replicate in the physical, assets. This will help, reduce the impact to the business operation, increase the business agility, and save a lot of costs when we do simulation. Yeah. And the second use case that I want to highlight is with our customer, Uniper. So, Uniper is an energy company based in Germany, specialized in plant production, operation, and maintenance. But what I wanted to highlight in this case is basically a vision to go beyond kilowatt hour. As I mentioned, Uniper is a energy company that specializes in plant production, operation, and maintenance, right? So that's their specialization. So what happened is, throughout the industry shift and challenges, Uniper embraced this challenge by taking digitalization, into that core business, creating a new S-curve business, bringing together their expertise in operation and maintenance, and plus with the digitalization, they provide this, asset reliability, performance management in, maintenance and operation as a service to other organizations, to help other organizations to, improve their efficiency within the plant as well. So I have a quick video that can share on how this is done.
The energy market of the future is facing great challenges, but it's full of opportunities. At Uniper, we've developed a set of solutions to help ensure that you're well prepared to take on these new challenges. Uniper's Analytics digital platform is set to revolutionize the power plant business. As an experienced owner-operator, we built an OEM-independent solution that offers a strategic approach that can save you time and money. It combines the most important functions at a glance, helping you exploit the full potential of your power plant. Using the Plant Maintenance and Reliability Management module, you can detect early faults, predict and optimize maintenance scheduling with minimum disruption to production time, all the while reducing costly unplanned failures. With our Asset Performance Management module, you can create a holistic real-time picture of what's happening in the plant from startup to shutdown. Analytics can help owners and operators evaluate the asset risk profile, leading to optimized investment prioritization with our Asset Risk Management module. And with our Asset Market Optimization module, enable you to operate your assets across multiple markets to maximize revenue, whilst meeting strategic, physical, and regulatory constraints. Help make your power plant more competitive in today's market with asset planning and valuation through understanding the commercial impact of potential projects. In a modern world, you need modern flexibility. Analytics uses cloud technology to give you a detailed overview of the entire plant from wherever you are. The future of power plant management is already here.
Okay, so the first two use cases, highlighted on how we bring data analytics to build the digital twins, right? And then, to predict and optimize the business process. So this third use case is basically focused on how we can bring in data and, collaboration through mixed reality to empower our, engineers in the field. So basically, this could apply to, into the training process, education process, simulation process, and whatever that the team needs a virtual assistant in the field, right? So typically the challenge would be, in the industry like power utility, especially in the power plant. Sometimes we have a training, but the training itself, we it's a hands-on training, right? But most of the challenges that our customer is facing is that sometimes when the team is going through the training process, it takes a lot of money and, the investment to really, making sure that the training is, as close as possible to the reality. So, that's one challenge. Another challenge that we are seeing is that sometimes, when people in the field, like they are operating something, but then they might need some assistance from a specialized specialist, that might be sitting across the country, right? And, sometimes we might have to schedule like an annual visit, for a speaker, like sharing for training purposes. But, the business cannot wait until like a year to have that session itself. So, this is the beauty of the mixed reality, technology, that basically we can apply this into the training process and the virtual assistant that people, the specialists can sit across the country or even, like outside of the country. And then, you can basically connect with those people and then, have a virtually collaboration in real time. And by applying this mixed reality, right, the employee get to experience what they have to do in real time as they are learning. And, it is the first-hand experience. And also, this can be remotely guided by the supervisor that sit across the country as well. Or even a real-time, operation scenario where the field engineers need a guidance from an operation center. This remote collaboration can also be done as well. So this also helps improve the efficiency across the operation.
Work today is more complicated than ever. The old ways of training cannot get new employees up to speed as fast as the experienced people are retiring. We need a better way forward. Introducing Dynamics 365 guides. Simple step-by-step instructions are easily written on a PC, and then holographic parts and icons are simply picked up and placed on the machine where the work is happening. From day one, employees are often expected to get work done, but the complexity can be overwhelming. Now, employees can learn by doing. This is a tool that works with existing processes, allowing a manager to get the right guides to their people. The instructions move with the employees, pointing them to the tools and parts they need, showing them exactly where they need to apply them. Employees get up to speed faster, with fewer errors and more confidence. A simple glance moves them through the instructions, meaning their hands are free to do the work. They can learn at their own pace without having to rely on other workers around them. The overall experience is comfortable and intuitive. For the first time, a manager can see detailed information about how the employees are working and how their skills are growing. This makes continuous improvement faster than ever before. All of this helps employees make the complex simple, so they can learn and adapt faster and organizations can stay competitive.
Okay, the last but not least, fourth use case that I want to share today is sustainability. Needless to say that, how important sustainability is, right? And we all have a goal to a sustainability future, but how we can keep track of our progress towards that goal, right? So how can, how much carbon emission do we emit throughout our process, carbon accounting that embody carbon emission from our, direct operation and indirect supplier engagement across the value chain. So, Microsoft is also, on this sustainability journey as well. We started our journey back in 2009, where we had the first initiative, to track and reduce our carbon footprint, at the global level, because Microsoft, we have like office around the world, right? So that was our mission. And now, 2 years ago, we just announced, our commitment that we want to become carbon negative by 2030. Yes, a carbon neutral is not enough anymore. So that's why we aim to be negative. And by negative means, we will remove the carbon, more than how much we emit. And by emitting, basically, we're talking about the carbon emission from our direct operations around the world and the indirect, supplier engagement that we have across the world as well. So that's really huge. And, later by 2050, we have committed to remove all of our, carbon footprint that we have emitted since the company was started in 1975. So, we understand the reason I'm sharing this is because, as we are moving from a company that provides the licensing, to a cloud provider. So we really understand that for us to reach that, sustainability, carbon neutrality goal, a huge partnership and innovation is required. And we combine, our years of experience in sustainability together with our technology expertise, introducing the new offering called Cloud for Sustainability that can help you track the carbon emission across the organization, report it to different layers of the set unit, and, to see how we can, reduce, remove, and replace them. And most importantly, whether we are on track with our, carbon neutrality goal, if not, what we need to do, to reach that goal, right? So if there is any area, in sustainability itself, happy to share another journey, from Microsoft side and then see how we can replicate, our learning, both, something that we learn in the best way and the failure that we learn, to see how we can improve and then, help, Indonesia power us all. So, we talk about three main use cases, highlighted on the operational efficiency, improvement, employee empowerment, with data, AI, digital twins, mixed reality, and so on, right? And, cut across this, use cases itself, sustainability management across business operation is also very important as well. So as you see that, the main common foundation you see across these four use cases is data. So, when we talk about data is, the data foundation, data quality, data integration across business unit. So as I, mentioned earlier that every move that our employee makes, that generate a lot of data, right? Every trigger and asset perform also generate a lot of data as well. We are sitting on top of, a tremendous data set. So how can we capture them and make use of it? So, the most common question we get asked is how do we start? Because, we understand that integrating the different, data together is difficult, especially that, we're talking about data in IT and data in OT, right? Because these two kinds of data were designed from a different places, how they were, aggregated is also very different. So how we put this together is going to be a huge, huge effort that we require. And honestly speaking, this is going to be huge. So the approach that we normally take is, instead of we start from the data and the challenges of the data quality, we start from the business priority first. Trying to understand what would be the area that we want to improve, and from that. Business direction itself, what it means to the data. And then, we start looking at what data is relevant to that business use case that we want to improve and where it is stored at this moment. For example, we talked about the work order. So the work order basically requires the data from the field services, from the operator, from the ship management for sure. And this also have to link with the IT data, it could be like SAP, it could be like ERP for, enterprise resource planner. And, if we could make the dependency of these two all together, that's how we keep track of, what it means in terms of data. And then once we have that business, strategy, we create the data strategy that align with that business unit. And that's how we move forward with, identifying what it means to the data side. And once we identify, what it means to the data, and we have the data strategy, we start by looking at where it's stored and, start by, building some integration based on the business need, and then use the data as a supporting function to help our people. Data should be, like a supporting function that guide our people to empower them to, perform their job better, to assist them, in their regular and routine tasks, so they can have more productivity and less burnout to do their tasks and perform even better, for the better business outcome. And then, like convert, this data with this integration into a decision support, actionable recommendation with AI. Use this data to monitor and control sensor, and, for a connected system at scale. And also, like, some of the large assets that we have across, multiple locations, we have those visibility and how we can operate it. And let's say if we have to operate it remotely, we make sure that we have 100% of, how those large assets is performing. And, last but not least, this data, and with the industry challenges today, everything has become more and more open. We need to collaborate with our partner ecosystem, with our, new partnership, so open standard, common data model that we can share our data together with our partner, with our customer is also very, very important as well. So, as we are talking about, data sitting at the heart of the, how we can drive the data-driven organization, right? In this chart, what I wanted to highlight is, once we have that data strategy, in terms of how we execute it, the way that we execute it, basically, it's not going to be one way or another. It's not going to start from, business user. It's not going to start from leader. It's not going to start from IT, but everyone all together, right? That's how we talk a operating model. So first and foremost, the most important thing is, the executive strategy. So this is aligned with the business strategy that we talked, earlier, right? So this is really important. After we have this, we can see how we can execute it later. And second, after we have the KPI business strategy, we start by identifying the business use cases. And the typical activities that we do is basically we combine the business user, the representative from different business user across the business unit come together, hosting like a hackathon. And then, within this hackathon itself, we start by identifying the problem statement, what you don't like in your daily job, what you wish that you don't have to do it, and what you wish that it will be much faster in your daily job, and what you wish to do that you cannot do yet because of other work. So this will be the typical problem statement that we start with. And then from the problem statement, we start by identifying, so what would be the ideal solution that will help you. And then from this solution itself, we start by crafting the pilot solution approach, and what is the result of this pilot. And then, the last one is, digital capability. And I intentionally put digital capabilities because, right now, we need to empower both business user, leader, and IT. So, these three triangle go together, I think needless to say, on the IT side, security, governance, data is really important. But on the business side, how we can empower them as a line of business manager that sit on top of tons of data, right? How they can make use of those data in their daily job. So this is really important. And leader, how can we make sure that we have visibility across business layer, so we can, make a much faster decision-making process as well. And in the middle, we combine the governance model, governance body from the executive, from the business, from the IT, together into the operating model. And this is how we run, a data center of excellence. So just a high level on how, we approach, the diagram, that how we approach the data, intelligence common data model for power utilities, right? On the left-hand side, as I mentioned, this is like a various types of, data that we have, whether it's unstructured, structured, data from sensor, data from industrial asset, and like operation and maintenance, drone, if you have like any vehicle, enterprise supporting data, we aggregate, data from this source based on the business need, and then creating like a data lake and common data model, and then, like to serve the business user. But what I wanted to highlight here is the analytics use cases, after we have this single layer of the data lake, this doesn't happen just to consolidate the data. This happened to support the analytic use cases. And what we do is that, how can we add more this analytic capability and use cases? And this is what we discussed earlier on the pilot approach, right? And then we keep adding into this and this, we could potentially start from asset performance management, predictive maintenance, process operation, and so on. And then, this will translate to either through the, like the API, the user interface, to the leadership, operator, business supporting function, data engineer, data scientist. And, this is my last slide. So, as we talk about the vision on, the power plant of the future, data has become a really huge asset that we need to utilize, right? So most of the question that we get asked is, what would be the recommendation on the next step, right? And I'm pretty sure that, Indonesia Power has already started on this journey. So that's really great. So, number one, consider a data center of excellence, light investment. Light investment means, we don't need to go full stream, because right now we take the startup approach, like learn fast and fail fast. But in that learning and fail fast, sandbox, we need to have like an environment that doesn't have an impact to the business operation, right? That's why we are talking about like center of excellence. And in that center of excellence, as I mentioned before, it's going to be a representative from business, IT, and leaders. And number two, we leverage this, ecosystem, center of excellence and capability, this capability to build our digital capability in-house. How we can upskill our people, how can we reskill our people, how we can take different approach when, we have a problem, how we can become more data-driven organization, how we can drive this data-driven, culture. That's something we're so happy to help and share. And number three, data COE, starting to include, tech business stakeholder and lead by senior business sponsor. Senior business sponsor is really important, and that's how we create a culture of innovation. And number four, consider, conducting a hackathon to identify key priorities where technology can be an enabler. We shouldn't start by, putting the technology first and see what we can do with it. Instead, we should put the problem statement and see, how it translates to the business process today and how we can improve that business process today with a technology. So this should be the approach that we take. And the last one, I'm pretty sure every industry, and needless to say that power plant, power utility, you have a huge specific business knowledge. That's really important. And that's something that nobody can take it away from you, right? But how can we help you with digitalization in, equipping that knowledge itself and help empower and expand that knowledge across the organization? So I think that's the most important thing. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Supawit. Very inspiring and informative presentations. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the question and answer sessions. There will be two sessions live from the audience, and then we're going to choose one question from the chat box. Before you came with the question, please mention your name and the unit before the question. So, any questions? Maybe from our director, Pak Bambang, our Operation 2 Director. Please, Pak Bambang menyampaikan. Still mute, Pak. Ya, please, Pak Bambang.
Ya, terima kasih Pak Wayan. Thank you very much, Mr. Supawit. Ni hao ma.
Thank you so much.
Yes, it's very interesting for your presentation. As you know, the first we informed to you that we already applied the Microsoft Teams here. It's very powerful, yeah. 365 we already use a long time. And then the last presentation, in your last presentation, you show the HoloLens Microsoft here. Maybe you can to explain shortly because we already discussed with the Microsoft in Indonesia about the HoloLens. Maybe the 2 years ago, yeah. Maybe in this year or early this 2022, Microsoft have the new HoloLens product, yeah. The second is the HoloLens already applied in the power plant for the maintenance. Yeah, please explain for us. Okay, the second, you already explained about the implementation, the machine learning and artificial intelligence in European power plant, also in the Uniper. When they start this power plant use your Microsoft product for machine learning or artificial intelligence, and how much profit they already take the profit. Yeah, this is very important for us, and explain the detail for the prediction. Yeah, we interest for the reliability, also the efficiency. We already apply for the efficiency for our boiler, but give me the explain detail for reliability. Use your product, use the machine learning detail. Let's say maybe let's say we example for reliability, the boiler leakage. Yeah, maybe you have the prediction for boiler leakage. You have the prediction for the vibration. Yeah, because the vibration for turbine, for fan, for in our plant is very important.
Yeah.
And then the next question is the until now we have the new power plant, but now they still connected the big data for our big data management. We call the ROC, Reliability Efficiency Optimization Center. Until now not yet connect. If this month is connect, and then we implemented the machine learning, it is the result is already I mean we can use this result because the data maybe only in the 1 month or 2 months. Yeah, it is the suitable for the machine learning your product. And the last question, how long we can create the machine learning artificial expert for us? Yeah, maybe 1 year or 6 months we can to create the expert. Thank you, Mr. Subawit.
Thank you so much, Bambang. That's a lot of questions. Thank you so much for your interest. So, number one, first and foremost, I'm glad to hear that Indonesia Power is using Microsoft Teams, because there is a huge integration from Microsoft Teams and the HoloLens that I mentioned, right? We have a very interesting use case, in the region that the customer use Microsoft Teams as a collaboration platform, and that basically connect to HoloLens. So when you think about HoloLens, basically they're just like different form of computer interaction. But inside, that's actually Windows 10, Windows 11, that's the same base. So, there is a application within the HoloLens itself, and, the Dynamic 365 guided that I show, the demo that I show, basically connected to Microsoft Teams, meaning that, let's say there are two persona. Number one is the supervisor that's sitting might be in Singapore, and the field engineer might be sitting in Indonesia, right? So the field engineer only need HoloLens, for them to perform. But on the other side, this person, the supervisor, can just use, normal regular laptop or even iPad, Android tablet, whatever that has Microsoft Teams. And then basically through this Microsoft Teams, this supervisor can just, put the pin, in that video that the supervisor is seeing from the camera from the HoloLens. And then the HoloLens will take, the pin, the text, everything. And then, the camera at HoloLens from the field engineer will scan the whole surface in 3D and then put that pin itself into that object. So, it will feel like, like this this is being done in real time, and it feels like these two persons are in it together, physically. So that's the beauty of HoloLens and the integration with Microsoft Teams. And moreover, as the interaction goes on, the HoloLens with the Dynamics 365 guide, operation will also record this, and then keep track of how the simulation, the training has been, and then we as an organization have that insight, and then we can improve the training process or even the assessment process as well. So that's number one. Number two, the question that I had was about our the first use case that I was sharing, right, on the European leading company. So I would say the journey started 5 years at least, maximum, and I would say when it comes to data, and this also linked to the last question that I have on how long it takes for machine learning to learn and for us to become an expert as well, right? When we talk about data, it's not like how long it takes, but basically that's the journey, similar to digital transformation as well. So what happened was together with Microsoft and our partner Tata Consulting Services, we came in, try to understand the business priority from the customer first, and see what they have and the gap that they are having right now. Because like it or not, the data is not going to be perfect, but how can we respond to that? And then how can we find the alternative solution to really unlock the gap that we're having? And every customer, every organization will always be different, right? So it took a little bit of time for us and a partner to really, identify the gap and see how we can overcome that gap itself, because it also, translates to the business process as well. And then in that gap itself, we try to find the alternative data to match the gap. And then, we came up with some pilot that we think it has potential to scale. And in terms of the improvement, it could improve at a certain level, but it wasn't perfect. The reason I'm saying it wasn't perfect is because, anything when it comes to data, we need to continuously learn. And that's how the model keeps evolving. That's how the model, the artificial intelligence, the digital twin keep, getting smarter and smarter, because we have more data, right? And we're talking about data, for the last 10 years at least. The more data we have, the more accurate the model will be. And the more, by accurating, I mean more, because the way the model perform is similar to how we as a kid, learn about things. The more that we learn, we know how to react, with, more conditions. So that's the same thing that the model learn as well. So we say it's a journey, but we need to start fast and then see how we can, improve that accuracy itself, and how we can improve our data quality. And that also lead to, how can we build our internal capability as well? Because eventually when we talk about data, the vendor, even Microsoft, even our partner, we come from a technology expertise, right? But the one that's gonna understand the data the most is actually yourself, the customer, the organization, right? So when it comes to data, that's why we recommend our customer like yourself to build the internal capabilities, because you are the one who understands your data the most. And we come in from a technology expert point of view, and then how we can help and the use case that we've done elsewhere and how that relevant to you. But then we have to help each other to overcome this. Yeah.
Okay, Pak Wayan, I think it's enough, because many others want to ask. Maybe we can to continue collaboration and discuss by email, Mr. Spawit.
Yeah. If you like, we can also arrange another session, and then I can bring in our partners, so you hear firsthand on the execution level, and all the detailed challenges that they faced back then. So it could be inspiring for us as well.
Okay. Yeah, I will.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Supawit. Thank you, Pak Bambang, for the questions. It's very good question, yeah, Pak Mr. Supawit, yeah, about HoloLens and about how to implement machine learning with Microsoft. Thank you, Pak Bambang, for the questions. And we move on to the next questions. We have Pak Sugeng. We have still time for about 20 minutes. Pak Sugeng, can you deliver it online? Please, Pak Sugeng.
Thank you, Pak. Thank you, Pak.
Yeah, please, Pak Sugeng.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Pawit, I'm Sugeng Triyono from Indonesia Power. My question with respect to the digital twin that couple of years back is very, how to say, very global.
Yeah.
And then the question number one is how long to set up the digital twin in the power plant, for instance? And then the second, does digital twin a dynamic model that can manipulate the variable different data input to see the behavior process and the output related to the data input given? And then the question number three is eventually, if we have a digital twin model in the power plant, could we do say prescriptive maintenance, meaning that those power plant components will tell when they're going to failure with respect to the existing condition and probably forecast dynamic extraction data in the future conditioning? Thank you, Pak Suparwit.
Thank you so much, Pastor Jing. So the first question is basically how long to set up that digital twin in the power plant, right? There is no direct answer, for this. But yeah, like even the use case that I share, basically even up until now, they're still, like improving, I would say, improving, right? But, like the setup itself, I would say most of not the challenges, but I would say most of the effort that we take was actually to get our business user, the operator, the operation center, to be participated because they are the one who hold the challenges, right? So that was the part that took a lot of effort, I would say. And, how long to set that up, right? So, how to set up, basically, I would break it out into like three main parts. Number one, business priority, and this is how we get our, stakeholder from leader, from business sponsorship operator and IT on board, these three main departments. Number two, after we have everyone on board, what would be the area that we start? Because as you mentioned, power plant itself is really huge, right? There are so many processes and we cannot start by doing everything. We need to pick an area that we think, has the highest impact, but then again, with the lowest cost as much as possible because everyone has their day-to-day job that they need to perform. So we don't want this to interrupt the business operation, right? So the second part, we conduct like an envisioning workshop. And in that envisioning workshop, basically, we talk about two main things. Number one, like we plot like a graph on the X. We talk about, like what is the highest impact, high impact, low impact. And then, easy to implement and, hard to implement. And then you will have the initiative and the problem segment in four main categories. The category that we will look, and pay the most, attention to would be the category that is, high impact, but, low effort. This is what we call quick win. And number two will be like, high impact, but, it might take a lot of effort. So this is what we call like, a strategic plan, a long-term plan. We need to keep our eyes on, but, it's going to take a lot of effort. So this could be like second priority. And number three would be, low impact, but high, low impact, but high, high effort. So this is the area that, we don't want to look at, because it is something that is not going to generate any business at all. And in the meantime, there will be the category that's basically, high impact, but low impact, but high effort. Yeah. So this is the area that we don't want to look at. So this is how we categorize, how we approach to this problem statement, right? And once we have this problem statement, the section number 3 would be, how we can bring this problem statement into execution layer. And this would take not just only one time, but basically it will require the partnership with the governance and stakeholder to have this pilot started. And at the same time, we need to monitor this pilot, whether it is what we thought it would be or not. If not, we need to change. We need to act fast. And if it is, how we can scale this to a much bigger impact, which is a production stage. We might start from one plant, one asset, one plant, and then see how we can replicate to other plants, because other plants might also be different as well, depending on how, the business process, fuel, power consumption, type of plant, even thermal, the process is also very, very different as well. So we need to find that mutual character that we can do, the pilot that we can scale. So I think that's really important for the first one, how long it takes to set that up, right? Number 2, does digital twin, is digital twin a dynamic model that can manipulate the variable different data input to see the behavior, process, and output related to input data given, right? So when we talk about digital twin, as I mentioned, ideally that's the replica of a digital form, right? So for us to really have that digital replica, basically we need to take a lot of data into, give one example. If we want to take the replica of a human form in, now people are talking about metaverse, basically how we need to understand how human body perform first, how we see, how we speak, how we move our mouth, how we hear, how we, the gesture that we interact with people, everything. Same thing to the, to the boiler. Take one example is the boiler. We need all the data, all the sensor that, detect the movement and, the vibration, the efficiency, and also, the relevant condition of that boiler itself. And we need those data, and those data is not going to be in the 3D model for sure. It's going to be 10 gigabyte of, unstructured data that we don't know what it means. But that's the beauty of, digital twins. And then we start by aggregating this data and then understand how the boiler works. And then creating is going to be a huge, it's going to be so many steps of modeling. It's not going to be just one, but basically so many things all together and then put it in the digital twins. In the video that I shared earlier, for them, in that case, and I'm not saying that this is going to be always be the true. It might be different in different contexts as well. But in that case, we collected a real-time data from 2,500 sensor from the boiler to create that digital twin. But then that data itself, only resonate with what is happening right now. But digital twin need to have some knowledge of, what happened in the past as well. So the more that we have the data in the past, that's the better. Why? Because, sometimes the boiler act differently because there are different conditions that happen in that time. So if we could, consolidate all of this data into model building, that basically the more scenario and use cases that we cover in this digital twin, and the more data that we have, basically that means the smarter of the digital twins. So that's what we call the present digital twin, right? But what we hope to achieve in that digital twin is not just what is happening today. We want you to tell us what's gonna happen, or we want you to tell us this is where we want to go and how to get there. So that's the beauty of digital twins, right? And that's why we need this data, build that model, and from this model itself, we would, put in some assumption. For example, if you want to improve the efficiency, we don't know, that efficiency improvement, what it means to 2,500 sensor, right? But these digital twins with the model that we train, basically it will understand that this is a goal that we want to be. And if you want to be there, what would be the setting that we need to change across 2,500 sensor? and we use this, recommendation to simulate, what would be the environment and the condition we need to take a look at. And then either, in some plant, the system is not fully integrated. We can take this thing and then, adjust the setting, whether in the lab information management system or in a distributed control system. Or, in a fully integrated manner, this could be, just fully integrated and control everything. That would be the concept of what we call lifestyle factory. I can share you the link later as well. So the lifestyle factory is the concept of how we foreseeing the manufacturing or power plant that there is no human in operation. Everything will be automated. Everything will be autonomous. Everything will be fully integrated. So that's the vision of the lifestyle factory. So that's, and as the model progress, as we operate our plant operation, the digital twin keeps learning because every day we generate new data, right? So that's going to be a process of feeding this data today and tomorrow into that model, and then in that remodeling itself, how we can improve, how we educate that digital twins, and it's not going to be perfect. There might be some biases that we need to correct as well, and that's where we need the supervisor from yourself, from the plant operator that have years of experience to really correct the digital twin, just like how we teach the kid, in school that this is what you learn, this is great, but you need to correct something. So this is how we operate the digital twin. And the third question, eventually, if we have a digital twin dynamic model, could we have a prescriptive maintenance, meaning that those power plant component will tell and they're going to failure? Yes, so this is one element of digital twins as well. Asset failure prediction, asset performance management. This is really one of the core. Yeah, I hope this answer your question.
Yeah, thanks a lot for this.
Thank you, Mr. Supawit, Pak Sugeng. Very clear answer, Mr. Supawit. And thank you, Pak Sugeng, Pak Bambang, for the live question from this meeting. And then we move on to the chat box, Mr. Supawit. We have two questions from the chat box from Pak Nugraha and Pak Tarwaji. Pak Nugraha asked about, based on your experience, how to manage data security in integration process of IT and OT.
Okay.
For Mr. Nugraha, Pak Supawit.
Okay. Thank you so much, Pak Nugraha. This is actually really good question. As we are exposing to more data integration, data sharing, security, and governance is really important. Especially we're talking about OT data, right? And that the impact of how it can be compromised. That's really huge to our business and the nationwide as well, right? Because we are talking about critical infrastructure like yourself. So there is a process of how we govern, but then before we talk about data security and governance, I like to take a step back first, right? There is a concept which I can share the approach, and happy to have another session because this is going to be a day or 2 day discussion as well. But just summarize on the highlight, right? First of all, we need to control who have the access, and we need to change how we approach to the data access from previously we might grant the access to everyone, but now there is a concept called zero trust. And by zero trust, basically we always validate. We don't give permission to anyone all the time. For example, by always validating, for example, if I'm the client operator, I need to access this information, right? First of all, whether I access it through application or database or even virtualization interface. Number one is how the company makes sure that it's actually me, right? So every access that I request, you need to check. Number one, can we have the multi authentication process? check with my mobile whether, this is actually me who is logging in, number one. Number two, see where I am at the moment. For example, if I, ask for the access, but I'm in, I should base in Jakarta, but this access is basically requested from like the US, from China, from, Russia. This is not me. But how, as a company, we have this information, right? And with all of these conditions itself, it's going to create a lot of inconvenience to the business user, which is not what we want, right? So there is a concept, what we call conditional access. Conditional access means, we check them based on condition. For example, if I'm physically at the plant, I can just log in right away. Maybe like, require some multi-factor authentication just only one time. And then once a day, that's all. But let's say if I'm, logged in through the internet cafe, we need to really confirm whether it's you. So we need to have a certain validation point, and then check the IP address, check the computer that they are using to access this information. So this is the concept, what we call the always validate. And once I get into the data itself, there is another concept called like data privacy. Let's say if I'm the plant operator, how much information should I have access to? For example, if I'm the plant operator for plant 1, I should only have the visibility over the plant 1 or plant 2, just in case in terms of like, if I leave the company and then I go with competitor, this asset still belongs to the company and I cannot take this with me. Same thing to the information that we send across email, send across, file sharing, how we can make sure that instead of like, us building the wall that, like people inside cannot go out, people outside cannot come in, but we accommodate the flexibility, but at the same time, we look at the file base, we look at the database, and then how we can encrypt that, and then, decide what kind of permission that we should give to certain people at a certain time, at a certain places. So that's the concept of, what we call zero trust. I'm really happy to have another session to share this approach, because Microsoft is a great, like storyteller for this, because we are the global company, right? So we have a lot of this. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Supawit, very clear answers. So please, we have another question, last questions, Pak Supawit. Please keep it short because due to the time. This is from Mr. Tarwaji, our EVP, Executive Vice President. Our last questions about how about, is there any regression algorithm which already used by Microsoft and could predict in medium and long term? So please a quick answer for Mr. Tarwaji. Please, Mr. Tarwaji.
The short answer is yes. But I would, like put a disclaimer that this is not going to be just only, one algorithm that we use. I would say we put the business context first and data that we have, the gap that we have, and then, Microsoft, we have a concept of, automated machine learning teaching model, which is like, a technology that basically predict the algorithm that we should use based on the data and the business outcome that we want to achieve. I'm happy to have another session to go deep into this as well.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Supawit. Okay, thank you, Pak Tarwaji, Pak Nugraha, for the great questions about, first from Pak Nugraha about the data security, and then from Pak Tarwaji, very good question about algorithm, how to predict whether in the medium term and the long term.
Yes, saya.
Yeah. And then we come to the end of the session. Mr. Supawit, very excellent presentation, and finally we come to the end of our part. We would like to say thank you again to Mr. Supawit for the information, inspiring talk, and for the audience, very active audience, Pak Bambang, Pak Sugeng, Pak Nugraha, and Pak Tarwaji. For the last question, for the last session, we're going to have a photo session with Mr. Supawit. So everyone can open up their camera and give 2 thumbs up for Mr. Supawit. Okay, please, Mbak Fevi, Pak Abi, take picture of us.
Yeah, okay. The crew, please. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Okay. It's
Okay.
already okay.
Okay. And then we thank you Pak Supawit for your good presentations on behalf of PT Indonesia Powers. Success for you, and maybe in the next time we will have another session for a deeper knowledge about Microsoft.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's been really, really good speaking to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you Pak Supawit.
Kapungkap.
Pak, thank you Pak Supawit. And then allow me to say in pantun. This is our tradition Pak Supawit pantun in bahasa. Terbang ke angkasa bersama SpaceX, melayang dengan gravitasi nol. Indonesia Power semangat mengembangkan iptek menjadi perusahaan energi yang jempol. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Pak Iwayan Arimbawa.
Ya, terima kasih Pak Iwayan Arimbawa telah memoderatori sharing session yang pertama. Baik, kita akan next sharing session yang kedua. Baik, yang akan membahas mengenai aplikasi Metaverse dalam bisnis electricity. Ini menarik sekali.
Betul.
Mas.
Siapa yang akan menjadi pembicara kali ini?
Ya, yang akan menjadi pembicara kali ini adalah Profesor Yandra Arkeman. Beliau merupakan guru besar Departemen Teknologi Industri Pertanian IPB University. Nah, sharing session kali ini akan dimoderatori oleh Bapak Muhammad Soleh. Kepada Bapak Muhammad Soleh, dipersilahkan.
Baik, terima kasih Mbak Fevi, Mas Abi. Ya, apakah suara saya sudah terdengar?
Clear, Pak.
Baik. Ya, selamat pagi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera buat kita semua. Salam sehat. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Terima kasih atas kesempatannya yang diberikan kepada saya untuk memoderator acara ini ya. Yang kami hormati Bapak Direktur Utama, Bapak Ibu BOD, senior leader yang hadir di sini, serta narasumber yang luar biasa di hari ini yaitu Profesor Yandra yang sudah berkenan, Yandra Arkeman ya, yang sudah berkenan untuk hadir di sini Pak. Selamat pagi Pak.
Selamat pagi, Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Teman-teman sekalian, rekan-rekan, ya pada hari ini kita kedatangan Profesor Yandra ya, yang dari mungkin kita bertanya-tanya nih dari IPB ya, mungkin apakah terkait dengan IT. Nah, ternyata setelah saya pelajari IPB sudah terkenal trademark dengan pertanian ya, walaupun kadang sekarang perbankan juga ya, Institut Perbankan Bogor ya. Mohon maaf. Ya. Baik, sebelum kita mulai mungkin saya bacakan dulu kurikulum vitae dari Profesor Yandra. Ya, Profesor Yandra Arkeman ini adalah profesor di Agro Industri Teknologi ya, dengan research interest ya di bidang Computational Intelligence and Advanced Computing Technology. Nah, beliau mendapatkan PhD dalam Manufacturing System Engineering dengan disertasi pada Intelligent Manufacturing System Using Genetic Algorithm ya dari Universitas South Australia. Nah, kemudian beliau melanjutkan postdoctoral research pada Departemen Electrical Engineering and Computer Science di Kansai University Osaka selama 2 tahun, kemudian melanjutkan ada postdoctoral research pada Departemen of Computer Science di George Mason University Amerika. Nah, beliau ini masuk dalam Who's Who in Science and Engineering tahun 1998-99 yang diterbitkan oleh Marquis Publication USA. Kemudian juga beliau mendapatkan Master of Engineering in Advanced Manufacturing Technology dari Universitas South Australia dengan tesis Application of Artificial Intelligence for Flexible Manufacturing System Design. Ya, kemudian beliau lulus dari IPB Agro Industrial Technology dengan skripsinya yaitu Computer Aided Quality. Jadi kalau dari kurikulum vitae beliau sudah sangat mendalami mengenai digital teknologi, kemudian artificial intelligence ya, computer aided technology ini sudah sangat mendalami walaupun tadi ya mendalami di bidang pertanian ya. Nah, kemudian juga beliau mendirikan SIGARIS ya, Computer Intelligence Group for Advanced Research and Innovation in Supercomputing Technology. Nah, kemudian juga saya dengar ada MetaBrain, Pak ya, MetaBrain di IPB. Meta Blockchain Research Artificial Intelligence Network ya. Nah, ini sangat menarik sekali untuk kita dalami. Nah, rekan-rekan sekalian, ini terkait dengan metaverse ya, kita banyak sekali mendapatkan informasi, terutama terbaru adalah ketika Facebook mengubah haluan masuk ke dalam metaverse. Walaupun metaverse itu sendiri sudah cukup lama dikembangkan ya. Setahu saya ada dari tahun 2003 sudah ada orang menjual namanya space ya di dalam ranah digital. Nah, saat ini mungkin sudah sangat viral, terutama ada coins, ada NFT ya dan sebagainya, sehingga itu memberikan sebuah sesuatu yang harus kita perdalami lebih lanjut. Nah, kita akan dengarkan bagaimana kita Indonesia Power dapat bisa berkiprah di dalam adanya potensi baru di dalam metaverse ini, bagaimana kiprah kita, bagaimana kita bisa mengambil peluang-peluang yang ada di sana. Tanpa banyak lagi yang dapat saya sampaikan, saya berikan waktunya kepada Profesor Yandra. Mungkin untuk sesi paparan, Pak Yandra butuh waktu berapa lama, Pak?
40 menit mungkin sesuai dengan rencana.
Siap, Pak. Baik, nanti kita berikan 20 menit, kemudian nanti kita lanjutkan.
40, Pak.
40 menit, Pak.
Ya.
40 menit presentasi?
Maksimum.
Maksimum ya, siap. Ya. Baik, Pak. Baik, nanti kita ubah 40 menit presentasi, kemudian kita lanjutkan 20 menit tanya jawab.
Ya.
Ya, waktu dan layar kami persilakan pada Pak Rusanda. Terima kasih, Pak.
Oke. Baik, terima kasih Pak Soleh. Selamat pagi ya rekan-rekan semua, Ibu Bapak ya. Semua yang sudah hadir di sini. Saya lihat banyak, ada 300 orang, alhamdulillah. Kita bisa sharing ya selama beberapa menit ke depan ya, terjadwal sih 40 menit, nanti kita lihat bagaimana sesuai jadwal atau tidak. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Topik saya adalah tentang aplikasi metaverse untuk bisnis electricity ya. Tadi sudah disampaikan, memang saya sejak S1 di IPB, P-nya adalah Pertanian Bogor ya. Itu udah menggeluti teknik industri, khususnya computer based industrial engineering. Nah, itu sudah pakai computer aided design dan artificial intelligence, kemudian dilanjutkan S2 dan S3. Terlebih lagi waktu postdoc, saya itu memang di Departemen Computer Science and Electrical Engineering dan Computer Science, dan juga di Amerika juga di Computer Science. Ya, sedianya ya, karena saya di IPB, rumahnya di IPB, kembali mengembangkan ilmu komputer ini untuk agroindustri, pertanian, dan lain-lain. Tapi tentu saja karena ilmu itu tidak ada batasnya, saya juga bisa mengembangkan untuk bidang-bidang lain, karena memang tempat saya belajar ya memang komputer secara umum, tidak dikhususkan untuk pertanian. Hanya karena rumah saya di pertanian, saya aplikasinya. Kalau di IPB saya harus bicara untuk pertanian, tapi di PLN saya harus bicara tentang untuk listrik dan lain-lain. Terima kasih undangannya. Oke, nah kami di IPB juga tahun 2017 punya riset grup yang namanya BRAIN, khusus memperdalam blockchain, robotics, dan artificial intelligence networks. Dan sekarang kami punya SIG itu Special Interest Group, khusus tentang metaverse ya, jadi MetaBrain. Jadi ada di underbow-nya, di grup di bawahnya ada MetaBrain, khusus untuk memperdalam tentang metaverse ini. Nah, ini tentang saya sudah disampaikan tadi ya, ini latar belakang pendidikannya juga dengan latar belakang keanggotaan di berbagai himpunan termasuk nasional dan internasional. Baik, kita lanjut ke topik kita hari ini tentang metaverse. Jadi tanggal 12 Januari lalu saya publikasi di Harian Republika tentang judulnya Bersiap Mengarungi Metaverse. Itu tulisan yang memang saya siapkan untuk merespon bagaimana perkembangan teknologi terkini di bidang artificial intelligence dan blockchain. Jadi bulan November seperti dikatakan bahwa blockchain Facebook turun ke metaverse, sehingga metaverse menjadi bahan yang sangat dibicarakan ya sampai saat ini ya, sangat banyak dibicarakan. Sehingga sebagai orang yang berkecimpung di bidang AI, di bidang blockchain, saya pun mau tidak mau harus ikut ya, mengikuti perkembangan ini, mempelajari ini, dan saya menuliskannya dalam satu artikel Bersiap Mengarungi Metaverse. Dan artikel itu alhamdulillah saya lihat tuh viral dan banyak yang menanggapi. Dan saya sebelum ini diminta khusus membicarakannya dengan rekan saya dari ITB dan Telkom University tentang bagaimana aplikasi blockchain, AI, dan metaverse untuk bisnis, industri, dan juga pertanian di masa depan. Nah, jadi salah satu teknologi digital yang akan berkembang sangat pesat di tahun 2002 ini ke sana ya, 10-20 tahun ke depan adalah metaverse. Pada hakikatnya metaverse ini adalah suatu ya teknologi yang menghadirkan dunia 3 dimensi di depan kita, di depan komputer kita. Kalau lebih singkat lagi saya katakan metaverse itu apa? Internet 3 dimensi. Sekarang ini kita internet tapi 2 dimensi. Kita melihat gambar di layar. Nanti kita bisa memasuki layar itu, tetapi dengan kacamata khusus. Ya, jadi basisnya adalah virtual atau augmented reality. Dan di belakang itu teknologinya adalah AI, blockchain, dan juga NFT. NFT itu non-fungible tokens yang berbasis blockchain, atau kalau bahasa sederhananya adalah sertifikat kepemilikan digital. Ada sertifikat digital. Jadi orang punya aset digital, aset itu harus ada sertifikatnya. Sertifikatnya juga sertifikat digital. Nah, inilah yang menjadi suatu hal yang ke depan ya, berbagai bisnis yang tidak terbayangkan oleh kita sebelumnya itu akan hadir ya dengan teknologi metaverse, teknologi blockchain, dan artificial intelligence. Sehingga membuka peluang bisnis baru di dunia maya virtual yang omsetnya itu luar biasa, mungkin triliunan, mungkin lebih ya. Bisnis itu ya, bisnis yang tidak pernah terpikir sebelumnya oleh kita ya. Kalau bicara tentang metaverse, meta itu adalah beyond ya, atau lebih dari ya, universe, meta dan universe, beyond dari universe. Oke. Nah, ini suatu contoh gambaran bisnis baru terkait metaverse. Ini bagaimana ini di sini dikatakan sehari ini ya, membeli tanah di metaverse dan lain-lain, kemudian ada juga kripto ya. Kemudian bahkan Bappenas ya, merancang ibu kota negara kita dalam bentuk metaverse. Kemudian di bagian kanan ini yang sangat populer nih, Gozali Everyday. Bagaimana dia punya aset digital hanya dengan memotret dirinya setiap hari sepanjang 5 tahun, itu dihargai miliaran rupiah di dunia maya tentunya. Tetapi uangnya bisa dipakai miliaran rupiah untuk beli macam-macam di dunia nyata maupun di dunia maya. Nah, ini adalah bentuk-bentuk yang umum. Nanti kita lebih spesifik bicara tentang bagaimana itu dengan bisnis kelistrikan tentunya ya. Ini yang satu lagi yang luar biasa, bagaimana orang sudah mengkapling planet Mars. Ya. Planet Mars yang jauh di sana, kita belum pergi ke sana, tapi sudah dijual tanah di planet Mars ya, dengan harga yang makin lama makin naik. Tapi planet Mars ini kan dibuat dalam metaverse, yang membuat kan tidak sembarangan. Simulasinya, tiruannya, digital twin dari planet Mars ini. Ini dibuat oleh NASA tentunya. Ya. Nah, ini laku tanah di planet Mars ini dengan uang jutaan miliaran rupiah. Nah, ini kan fenomena yang aneh, tetapi nyata. Ya, sesuatu aset digital, aset yang nggak ada wujudnya, ya laku dengan harga triliunan rupiah. Ya. Jadi kalau saya sampaikan tadi, metaverse ini pada prinsipnya adalah suatu internet 3 dimensi. Kalau kita berhubungan dengan internet sekarang, kita bisa melihat gambar. Kalau di dalam metaverse, kita bisa melihat ya, gambaran 3 dimensi. Kita itu dalam bentuk avatar. Ya. Avatarnya itu wakil kita di dalam metaverse, ya, wujud kita dalam metaverse dalam bentuk avatar. Itulah nanti yang akan ini hadir di dalam metaverse. Dan jangan lupa, yang penting adalah bisa berinteraksi dengan user lainnya di seluruh dunia. Kalau sekadar kita masuk itu mungkin seperti game saja, tapi tidak, kita bisa berhubungan dengan siapapun di seluruh dunia. Nah, inilah ya keunggulan dari metaverse. Tapi tentu saja tidak itu saja, ya, kita bisa menggunakannya untuk berbagai bisnis, termasuk nanti yang kita bahas di berbagai distrik. Nah, ini metaverse pada prinsipnya adalah meta universe. Ditambah satu lagi dengan adanya pengalaman imersif. Imersif itu maksudnya seperti nyata. Kalau ada air, kita masuk air, kaki kita dingin. Air itu kita ini akan tersiprat, akan muka kita serasa basah. Tapi kita tidak basah, karena kan kita hanya pakai kacamata. Jadi pengalaman imersif inilah yang membuat metaverse semakin seru. Ya, kalau kita masuk toko bunga, mungkin nanti suatu saat bau bunganya pun bisa tercium oleh kita. Ya, sekarang hanya gerakan bunga atau tiupan angin yang bisa kita rasakan dengan pengalaman imersif ini. Nah, ini saya perlihatkan sedikit untuk memberi gambaran ya secara ini metaverse ini ya kelihatan seperti kalau kita melihat wah ini game atau dunia anak-anak, tetapi ternyata di luar itu luar biasa. Di kiri kanan seperti kita lihat ada tembok-tembok yang bisa ditampilkan iklan-iklan ataupun aset-aset digital yang bisa dijual. Itu ada iklan ya, kiri kanan ya. Nah, itu semua ada value-nya ya, bisa dijual, bisa dimiliki dan bisa dijual kembali. Itu adalah bentuk dari metaverse buat Ibu Bapak yang belum melihatnya. Nah, sekarang bagaimana taksonomi metaverse? Kita lihat di sini bahwa metaverse ya terdiri dari berbagai komponen yang secara teoritis nanti kita bisa pelajari dari atas physical device-nya, recognition, scenario generation, user interaction, technical methods, dan di bawah lah, paling bawah yang perlu saya tekankan di situ adalah application. Metaverse application kita bisa dilihat di sana dia. Simulation seperti tadi, game, bisa untuk office, bisa untuk sosial, bisa untuk marketing, dan bisa untuk education. Seperti tadi, power plant bisa dibuat digital twin-nya di metaverse. Jadi kalau ada kerusakan di power plant bisa kita pelajari dulu di metaverse how to fix it. Bahkan kita bisa juga buat seperti pertanyaan tadi, karena memang saya juga background-nya AI, jadi saya mengikuti tadi. Bagaimana kita melakukan predictive atau prescriptive maintenance menggunakan AI. Tapi tidak hanya AI, kita lihat bendanya di metaverse. Ini mesinnya begini loh, nanti kita predictive maintenance, prescriptive maintenance, itu bisa dilakukan. Sekarang berapa tahun lagi nih umur dari power plant kita ini? Kita bisa prediksi, kita bisa simulasi, bisa coba. Tidak hanya dalam simulasi 2 dimensi dalam layar datar, tetapi sudah dalam simulasi dalam bentuk 3 dimensi layar datar. Dan simulasi itu dilihat oleh ahli dari Indonesia, ahli dari Amerika, ahli dari Inggris, bekerja bersama-sama, kolaboratif design. Tapi mereka masing-masing duduk di rumahnya. Ada yang pakai sarung, ada yang pakai piyama, ada yang pakai baju jaket tebal di sana, sama-sama mengurus desain, kolaboratif desain terhadap suatu contoh adalah power plant kalau di bidang kelistrikan. Ini sangat memungkinkan. Lalu support. Metaverse support itu dari 1G to 6G. Nanti suatu saat dunia kita sekarang ya, kita masih banyak di 4G, di mana kecepatannya sampai 1000 megabyte per second. Nanti masuk 5G, 5G saja sudah heboh dunia ini. Ya, 1 sampai 10 GB per second yang disebut dengan Internet of Things. Ya. Kemudian nanti 6G, mungkin Internet of Everything, ya, Internet of Skills, dan lain-lain. Saya sebut 5G sudah heboh, bahkan ada teori, ya, ini teori, ya, yang tidak tahu kebenarannya, bahkan ya wabah pandemi saat ini pun dihubungkan dengan teknologi itu. Padahal ini adalah persaingan bisnis saja, ya. Jadi kita lihat itu, apalagi nanti ada teknologi 6G yang lebih baik. Lalu komponen dari metaverse kita lihat di sini dari kiri ke kanan ada realitas beneran, kemudian augmented, ke mixed reality, dan sampai ke virtual reality seperti tadi yang saya perlihatkan dalam video singkat. Walaupun itu pun karena kita melihatnya datar, itu adalah melihat dari 2 dimensinya. Kalau kita pakai kaca metaverse, kita bisa masuk ke dalamnya. Okay? Jadi platform 2D yang sekarang itu kita bisa suatu saat ya kita pakai Teams, Zoom ya, kita pakai Google Meet. Nah, itu akan bertransformasi, semua akan bertransformasi menjadi metaverse di masa yang akan tidak lama lagi ya. Jadi kita sekarang pakai Zoom, mungkin 6 bulan lagi kita sudah pakai metaverse untuk menggunakan seminar ataupun FGD ataupun workshop seperti ini. Lalu pengalaman dalam metaverse ini ada pengalaman nyata di sebelah kiri, kita pergi ke planet Mars, ya kita harus terbang. Kalau dengan metaverse kita cukup melihat digital twin-nya, melihat replikanya yang tentu saja dibuat dengan cermat, dengan nggak sekedar toy, benar-benar menyerupai keadaan aslinya. Yang itu dengan metaverse. Ya. Kemudian pengalaman nyata di pabrik atau di industri atau di PLN mungkin ya, di power plant, orang mengunjungi bisa merusak gitu. Bisa mengganggu proses produksi. Tapi kita mengunjungi lewat metaverse, ya itu bisa proses produksi tidak terganggu. Bahkan sekarang orang tidak udah visit lagi, studi banding ke Jerman, Prancis nggak usah lagi, nggak usah terbang lagi. Dari rumah saja kan kita bisa melihat power plant di Inggris, di Amerika, bahkan juga mungkin nuclear plant bisa kita lihat. Ya kita bisa masuk ke dalamnya. Bagaimana security-nya tentu saja diatur ya. Secara digital pula ya, tidak semua orang bisa masuk, ada sidik jarinya, semua orang bisa lihat. Nah itu isu security di dalam metaverse. Karena namanya juga digital twin, sama seperti aslinya. Kalau orang tahu semua rahasia di situ, maka ada isu security ya, orang bisa melakukan kejahatan, mencuri dan sebagainya. Nah itu isu-isu di dalam pengembang metaverse. Sekarang ini kita lihat membangun metaverse ini yang menggunakan NFT. Karena di dalam dunia metaverse pun terjadi transaksi. Nah, begitu transaksi ada uang. Uangnya adalah uang digital, ya, kripto atau NFT. Kita lihat di sini ya. Nah, yang ditempel-tempel ini bisa ini. Jadi salah satu peluang bisnis sebenarnya adalah peluang menempatkan iklan ya perusahaan-perusahaan kita di dalam bentuk metaverse, di dalam bentuk elemen-elemen metaverse. Di sini bisa lukisan, billboard dan lain-lain yang ditempatkan. Orang tidak lagi beriklan seperti di internet 2 dimensi, sekarang beriklannya adalah di homepage, sekarang adalah di metaverse. Semakin banyak metaverse yang diluncurkan, tentu saja semakin banyak orang akan mengunjungi metaverse yang baik, yang laku, sama saja dengan homepage yang laku, divisit banyak pengunjung. Nah itu peluang untuk masuk ya iklan-iklan di sana dan peluang-peluang bisnis baru yang ada di situ. Ya. Kita lihat tipe aset yaitu yang disebut dengan NFT, sertifikat aset digital. Itu ada yang intangible, ada yang tangible. Nah, yang sekarang berkembang adalah non-fungible token. Ada yang fungible, ada non-fungible. Non-fungible ini maksudnya tidak bisa dibagi, seperti sertifikat tanah. Dalam satu lembar sertifikat fisik, kita kan tidak bisa membagi. Oh, tanahnya kita bagi 2, sertifikatnya juga disobek, tidak bisa. Harus utuh sertifikatnya. Itulah yang disebut dengan non-fungible token. Itu bisa digunakan untuk sertifikat lukisan, sertifikat artwork, sertifikat seni, sertifikat lagu, ya, seni, lagu yang dilakukan oleh termasuk pemusik-pemusik di Indonesia. Sertifikasi lagunya, kalau lagunya ditiru tidak bisa, jadi dibeli sertifikatnya, dibeli tokennya. Kalau lagu itu bagus, dia jual lagi, dia dapat harga yang mahal. Jadi tidak ada pemalsuan, peniruan, ya, pembajakan. Karena setiap barang seni ya itu dibuat sertifikatnya dan tahu pemiliknya dan hanya satu, tidak bisa diduplikasi. Nah itu dengan teknologi blockchain bisa dilakukan. Kalau teknologi lain tidak bisa melakukan. Ya seperti uang bisa difotokopi, ada teknologinya, teknologi ya untuk mengamankan uang itu. Nah juga aset digital itu ada sertifikatnya, ada pengamannya untuk agar sertifikat digital itu tidak diduplikasi. Itulah teknologi blockchain di belakang sana. Ya. Nah, inilah teknologi yang sekarang non-fungible tokens itu menjadi suatu hal yang diperdagangkan. Karena di baliknya ada barang seni, baik barang fisiknya ada atau barang fisiknya tidak ada. Orang membeli sesuatu yang berada di dalam metaverse, misalnya membeli suatu pemain bola yang di metaverse, yang jago sekali nyetak gol, nah itu dia beli, itu punya dia pemain bola itu. Kalau orang mau ya beli ke dia. Saya katakan lagi suatu bisnis, ya, sekali lagi mungkin saya ulangi, yang nggak terpikir oleh kita sebelumnya, tapi itu ada, ya, dan dijalankan. Ya, ada yang mengkritik seperti di dunia mimpi, ya itulah yang terjadi sekarang di dunia yang kita sebut dengan virtual reality. Jadi ekonomi konvensional kita itu akan berubah menjadi ekonomi metaverse dalam waktu yang tidak akan lama. Makanya sekarang beberapa hari lalu, mungkin kemarin saya baca bank-bank Indonesia, BNI, segala macam sudah masuk ke bisnis metaverse. Mereka akan tersentuh oleh itu. Ya. Konvensional ekonomi yang sebelah kiri ada barangnya, consumption, trading, good, market. Nah, yang sebelah metaverse ekonomi, nggak ada barangnya, ada digital creation. Orang membuat lukisan digital, terus dibeli, lukisannya nggak ada, digital. Kemudian dibeli orang, kemudian harganya naik, dijual lagi, orang dapat uang di situ. Nah, inilah yang digital ekonomi. Sehingga keranjangnya itu, kalau ada keranjang digital, orang beli di supermarket, isinya itu kosong, isinya hanya file, isinya hanya sertifikat digital. Seperti itulah gambarannya. Dan ini akan terjadi, dan bukan akan lagi, sudah terjadi, ya, dan sudah terjadi dan akan mengubah masa depan, termasuk budaya peradaban kita. Nah, ini secara saintifik dilihat bahwa transformasi menjadi metaverse itu bisa kita lihat ada digital creation di sana, kemudian digital asset, digital currency, karena akan ada transaksi, akan ada jual beli, ya. Kemudian ada digital markets, termasuk jual beli listrik nantinya, jual beli electricity, bisnis electricity akan ada di situ, ya. Nah, makanya ada dua, artificial intelligence di sebelah kiri, ya, dengan learningnya, machine learning, dan sebelah kanan itu adalah blockchain dengan cryptocurrency, ya, authentication, transaction bisnis, dan lain-lain, ya. Jadi dua teknologi itulah yang membentuk metaverse di masa depan. Di samping tentunya ada AR, augmented reality, virtual reality, dan lain-lain, ya, yang juga dilakukan di computer science. Nah, nantinya uang atau NFT atau sertifikat itu ada 3 jenis. Satu, tokennya itu dan bendanya sama-sama ada di blockchain yang sama atau di metaverse yang sama. Yang kedua, token dan barangnya bisa barang digital, nggak harus barang fisik. Itu di blockchain yang berbeda. Ya. Nah, yang ketiga adalah tokennya itu di dunia metaverse, barangnya itu di dunia nyata. Jadi misalnya sertifikat tanah kita, yang tanah beneran, itu bisa ada kan sertifikatnya, tanahnya ada, itu bisa kita buat sertifikat tanahnya, bisa juga kita jual di metaverse. Seperti itu. Jadi ada yang dua-duanya di digital, ada satu digital atau tidak, ada yang satu digital, satu di dunia nyata. Itu bisa terjadi. Ya. Nah, itulah ya keluar biasaan nanti teknologi ini. Nah, peluang bisnis ya macam-macam untuk co-working first, co-working space ya, untuk marketplace dan untuk edukasi. Nah, ini mulai kita lihat bagaimana Gartner Metaverse. Elemen dari metaverse itu apa? Digital currency, marketplace, NFT, infrastructure, dan lain-lain. Ya. Kita lihat di sini peluang bisnis metaverse, kita mulai masuk nanti. Ini yang bisa dilakukan ya. Kita diantaranya bagaimana kita melakukan simulasi untuk decision making. Untuk agroindustri, ini kita lihat bagaimana pertanian di dalam metaverse. Kemudian tapi ada pertanian fisiknya ya, to promote agricultural policies. Jadi dilakukan dulu di metaverse, baru dilakukan di dunia nyatanya. Nah, sekarang yang mungkin menarik buat Ibu dapat sekalian adalah tentang listrik ya. Ini separuh dari presentasi saya adalah tentang ini aplikasinya di bidang ini. Yang satu yang disampaikan di sini metaverse pasti butuh listrik. Makin banyak orang menggunakan metaverse, makin banyak konsumsi listrik. Kan itu. Satu ya, itu sebagai jargon. Kita lihat logika sederhananya. Dunia nyata perlu listrik, butuh listrik. Dunia virtual pun butuh listrik virtual. Jadi kalau ada metaverse di dalam suatu bangunan, suatu kota, ya, suatu kota di dalam metaverse, itu kan harus dirancang juga. Karena kan dia harus menyamai kota aslinya kan. Nah, nanti penerangannya bagaimana? Di mana ditaruh lampunya, berapa besar lampunya, kan gitu. Bagaimana agar kota itu menjadi smart city, green city. Ya kan, kalau ada istana di situ, bagaimana lampu sesedikit mungkin, tapi seterang mungkin. Nah, itu disimulasi di dalam metaverse. Listriknya itu, apakah di listrik itu disebut listrik virtual atau tidak, tapi maksudnya adalah bagaimana proses ya menghitung energi listrik di kota virtual itu juga menjadi suatu pekerjaan sendiri, ya, karena ya itu harus dilakukan, ya, tidak bisa sembarangan membuat penerangannya, itu bukan toy, itu adalah sesuatu yang sangat ilmiah. Kemudian dalam bisnis penyediaan energi, kita lihat di sini kita bisa juga melakukan distribusi energi listrik, ya, seperti virtual power plant, ya. Kita mengumpulkan energi listrik yang berlebih, kemudian didistribusikan. Energi listriknya mungkin dari biomasa atau lain-lain, itu bisa dikumpulkan, ya, seolah-olah itu adalah power plant, itu kemudian didistribusikan. Itu bisa dilakukan lewat teknologi metaverse. Jadi ada layanan baru, produk digital, kantor virtual, dan lain-lain. Nah, di sini untuk bisnis kelistrikan, misalnya token, listrik itu menjadi suatu yang bisa dibeli, tadi seperti itu. Sebagai contoh adalah crypto utility, carbon trading. Kita beli karbon, jual karbon. Karbonnya sebenarnya kan abstrak juga itu kan. Nah, membelinya dengan token, menjualnya dengan orang nanti dia perlu listrik 1000 kilowatt ya kalau di rumah. Tapi karena dia bisa beli 2000 itu dengan listrik token. Ini konsep ya, konsep pemikiran ya yang mungkin kita bisa bahas ya. Karena kita kan tentunya nanti ada regulasi, ada macam-macam ya. Ada yang boleh, ada yang tidak boleh. Tapi konsep ini terjadi seperti crypto utility, itu sudah ada ya, token untuk carbon trading. Nah, ini bisa banyak turunannya. Yang sudah ada pun sudah berjalan, tapi masih banyak lagi. Salah satu penelitian mahasiswa saya adalah bagaimana menggunakan blockchain untuk carbon trading, perubahan iklim. Karena IPB kan terkait perubahan iklim, hutan, segala macam. Bagaimana kita menyimpan karbon, tapi kemudian masuk ke dalam kripto. Ya. Hara token, Hara itu adalah pertanian ya, token bidang pertanian itu juga ada ya, sebagai gambaran tambahan informasi. Jadi kita menyediakan platform distribusi dan pembangkit energi listrik dengan token ya. Bisa juga token untuk stasiun charging di daerah bisnis ya. Atau token prabayar untuk fast charging mobil ya di stasiun kelapa. Nah, itu tokennya ya. Token ini bisa untuk di luar metaverse, bisa untuk di dalam metaverse. Jadi kita beda, itu tokennya ya. Tokennya itu bisa untuk di dunia nyata. Tapi tokennya itu nanti juga bisa masuk ke dalam dunia virtualnya. Kemudian aplikasi metaverse untuk bisnis kelistrikan. Ini dilihat pelatihan karyawan yang seperti disampaikan tadi ya, power plant di sini kita lihat ya. Pelatihan pengenalan pesawat atau bisa juga power plant ini. Itu karyawan dilatih dengan menggunakan metaverse di sini. Jadi dia berhadapan dengan alat. Termasuk tadi kita melakukan predictive maintenance atau prescriptive maintenance, ya, memperkirakan berapa ya kapan akan rusak power plant ini, sebelum rusak tentu saja harus diganti komponennya dan seterusnya dan seterusnya. Kemudian di holocrane ya, ini juga bisa digunakan di dalam metaverse. Ini untuk pelatihan operator secara virtual. Apalagi di era pandemi sekarang ini, orang sudah tidak boleh banyak bertemu. Akhirnya yang digunakan adalah pelatihan virtual, termasuk yang kita lakukan saat ini. Detik ini kan kita virtual, tidak di dalam ruangan, ya, tidak ada 300 orang, ya, tidak ada ruangannya, tapi kita dalam ruang virtual. Dan itu menjadi suatu keniscayaan. Suatu saat kita masuk ruang pelatihan 3 dimensi, ya. di mana seolah-olah kita masuk ruangan, ya, kemudian bertemu sama satu sama lain, dan juga bisa berinteraksi, melihat pesawat yang sama, melihat mesin yang sama, dan seterusnya. Aplikasi metaverse untuk bisnis kelistrikan yang lain, kita lihat ke bagaimana kita mendevelop ya sustainable city, green city seperti tadi, dengan memperkirakan kebutuhan energi, ya. Belum dibuat kotanya, masih dalam bentuk rancangan, tetapi kita bisa mensimulasi dengan metaverse. Berapa banyak energi listrik yang digunakan, berapa banyak, how green is energy, sumbernya dari mana saja, batu bara nggak boleh misalnya, kita harus sumbernya apa. Dan itu semua dihitung, kalau semua simulasinya adalah 2 dimensi, real time tetapi dua dimensi, sekarang ada real time dan 3 dimensi. Nah, dari sini kita dapat ya jumlah yang lebih akurat tentunya ya. Jadi mengembangkan metaverse juga bisa digunakan untuk penggunaan listrik secara virtual tadi ya. Bagaimana ini bisa dilakukan? Ini yang disebut meta plan ya. Bagaimana kita konsep ini sudah digunakan di Jerman, Australia, Jepang dan juga Korea Selatan. Bagaimana suatu virtual ya, virtual power plant ya. Kita lihat di sini. Konsepnya adalah ini adalah semua energi yang lain, misalnya dari wind, dari macam-macam ya. Ini mereka punya kelebihan energi, ya. Kelebihan energi ini jangan dibuang, dimasukkan ke dalam virtual power plant, kemudian didistribusikan. Jadi tidak ada energi yang terbuang. Jadi dikumpulkan kelebihan energi dari berbagai sumber, dari industri, dari mana, digabung menjadi satu, kemudian didistribusikan dengan cara remote monitoring dan control system, ya, kemudian advanced distribution management system, ya, dan distributed energy resource management system. Ini yang saya dapatkan di dalam berbagai referensi. Nah, ini disebutkan power plant digital twin. Ini bagaimana kita dengan contoh GE di sini membuat digital twin-nya sehingga bisa dipelajari bahkan dari jauh ya. GE di Amerika sana kita bisa mempelajarinya, tentu saja dengan izin, dengan perjanjian bisnis kita bisa mempelajari teknologinya melalui metaverse. Dan ini bisa mendidik ya, sumber daya manusia kita agar punya kemampuan yang baik di bidang metaverse. Ini tadi yang disebut dengan decision support, kita bisa rapat menggunakan metaverse, tidak lagi Zoom ya, sudah oke ya. Google Meet sudah oke, tapi 2 dimensi. Kita melihat ya seperti sekarang ini, saya melihat Ibu dan Bapak ya, semua peserta dalam bentuk gambar 2 dimensi ya. Tapi dalam pertemuan kita bisa seolah-olah kita ini berada di dalam ruangan. Yang di dalam ruangan tuh bisa juga semua dibisniskan. Baju yang digunakan bisa dibeli di mana ya. Kursi yang duduk bisa diganti kan, TV yang digunakan ya. Bisa jadi area bisa menjadi bahan bisnis semua ini kan. Ya, sama juga kita di dunia nyata, pengen punya jas, punya sepatu ya yang baik pada saat rapat mereka punya jas ya, bajunya ini bisa dibeli, dia nggak senang lagi bisa dijual, dan itulah bisnis barang yang disebut tadi, barang yang nggak ada fisiknya, ada cuman digitalnya, tetapi itu dibeli orang dan dijual lagi, dijual lagi. Nah itu kan suatu ya keanehan menurut kita sekarang, tapi sebentar lagi itu menjadi suatu kenyataan kan gitu kan. Padahal orangnya ini sedang di rumah ya, pakai sarung ya atau pakai piyama ya, sambil minum kopi, kan dia nggak kelihatan ya. Nah tetapi ini adalah avatarnya. Kalau kita di sini tidak pakai avatar, gambar saya, foto saya kan di sini. Kalau nggak mau dilihat dimatikan. Kalau di sini avatar, avatar ini saya. Misalnya ini saya adalah saya yang mengendalikan nih, dia mau pakai salaman, mau ini, mau marahin orang, mau senyum, mau apa terhadap si A, terhadap si B nggak senyum, terhadap ini bisa dilakukan, dikontrol, bukan sekedar mainan, ini mewakili si yang memainkannya, si yang mempunyai user, istilahnya akunnya, si yang punya akun, ya kan? Nah ini yang unik nih ya, bagaimana ini mungkin juga akan hadir di kita secara bertahap nantinya ya, sejauh mana ini efektif untuk pengembangan bisnis. Tentunya semua orang ya, hampir semua orang sekarang sibuk ya membicarakannya. Nah, sekarang kita bicara satu aspek lagi adalah etika, privasi, dan juga regulasi, karena ini penting. Sejauh mana teknologi ini ya, orang yang berpikiran pesimis mungkin mengatakan ini akan menjadi kehancuran, awal dari kehancuran dunia, distopia istilahnya kan, menuju kehancuran. Yang berpikiran optimis justru ini adalah untuk mempermudah bisnis, meningkatkan efisiensi, meningkatkan sistem produksi ya, tanpa kita harus pergi ke tempat lain ya, tetapi tetap dunia nyatanya harus ada. Nah, kemudian ada yang disebut dengan brain computer interface ya, di dalam untuk menjalankan metaverse kadang-kadang kita ditempelin itu tuh, selain kacamata ke otak kita tuh ditempelin sensor untuk melihat cara kita bekerja. Jadi suatu saat kalau kita ingin menjabat tangan orang, kita nggak usah pakai tombol lagi. Kita pikirkan aja, saya menjabat tangan orang itu di dalam metaverse. Saya mau belok kanan, saya mau belok kiri, saya mau ganti baju. Itu cukup dilakukan dengan otak. Nah, tetapi di sini ada etikanya, ada privasinya. Maka nanti suatu saat ya, seluruh apa yang kita pikirkan bisa dibaca oleh mesin. Nah, tentu kita tidak mau ya apa saja yang kita pikirkan lalu dibaca, ya kan? Nah, ini orang kan banyak yang tidak suka, nggak ada privasinya. Kemudian yang kedua, respon negatif tubuh. Mungkin ada yang alergi ya terhadap alat-alat itu, tetapi ini sudah ditangani. Dia non invasif sekarang. Kalau dulu dimasukkan ke kulit kepalanya, kalau sekarang tidak, dari jauh saja gelombang itu ditangkap. Data biometrik, nah orang ingin melihat sampai denyut jantungnya berapa ya, kemudian apa lagi, tidak semua orang juga mau membagi data biometrik ini ya. Jadi adalah ya fake privacy, kemudian regulasi anak-anak di metaverse ya. Di internet 2 dimensi aja, internet kita sekarang anak-anak kan juga dibatasi. Tidak hanya untuk konten yang belum saatnya dia, pornografi dan lain-lain, tentu saja itu tidak boleh, tapi misalnya dia perilaku ya, dia memasuki metaverse sebagai seorang dokter atau polisi atau seorang pilot yang belum umurnya kan, itu tidak bisa ya, ada perlindungannya. Kemudian perlindungan digital twin seperti saya katakan tadi, kalau ibu kota negara atau suatu gedung rahasia Pentagon dan lain-lain ada metaverse-nya, siapa yang melindungi security-nya, bagaimana cara mencegahnya? Kalau tidak ada mungkin orang lain ingin mengenal, tapi kalau tidak ada nanti menjadi bahaya. Nanti ada namanya security, metaverse security. Kemudian deepfakes, ya, bagaimana akan ada transaksi perdagangan di dalam metaverse, maka nanti ada penipuan, di mana saja ada uang, ada harta, di situ ada kejahatan. Uang yang berubah jadi digital, berubah menjadi sesuatu yang abstrak, kejahatannya juga kejahatan digital, juga kejahatan yang abstrak. Nah, tetapi tetap kejahatan. Nah, ini berarti tetap harus ada security, tetap harus ada regulasi untuk mengatur semua ini. Saya pikir itu yang penting, yang di bagian akhir tentang implikasi, ya. Terus kita mau ngapain? Ini khususnya di dalam tulisan tulisan saya, karena saya menempatkan diri saya sebagai educator, sebagai orang yang melakukan edukasi, ya. Karena memang saya itu fungsinya, bukan sebagai pebisnis, bukan sebagai pemerintah, sebagai educator. Nah, itunya adalah yang saya kemukakan di sini, ya. Sebagai educator kita harus encourage orang, ya, mempersiapkan diri, ya, bahkan menjadi inovator dari metaverse ini. Mempersiapkan diri, kita tahu teknologinya, kita gunakan, dan suatu saat kita juga harus inovatif. Kita harus berpacu dan juga berkolaborasi dengan negara maju untuk menguasai berbagai ilmu dan teknologi terkait metaverse ini. Tadi ada blockchain, ada AI, ada AR, VR, banyak teknologinya. Jadi harus ke sana, kan? Berpacu dalam melodi, nggak lagi berpacu dalam teknologi. Nah, tentang grup riset BRAIN, tahun 2017 IPB untuk merespon teknologi digital, IPB sudah punya BRAIN, namanya Blockchain Robotic Artificial Intelligence Network. Itu sebuah grup riset. Nah, ini pun ya perlu bertransformasi segera menjadi MetaBrain. Tapi kami tidak bertransformasi keseluruhan, tetapi ada SIG, Special Interest Group. Special Interest Group-nya ada robotik, ada drone, dan ada di sini Metaverse. yang spesial intergroup metaverse, itulah yang disebut dengan meta brain. Nah, saya ada ditemani oleh 2 orang mahasiswa doktor saya di saat ini, tidak hanya sebagai asisten yang sifatnya teknikal, mungkin ada PowerPoint yang rusak dan lain-lain, tetapi mereka saya minta hadir di sini untuk mempelajari metaverse ini, dan juga nanti kalau ada tanya jawab ya mereka ikut membantu pemikiran karena mereka adalah anggota dari metaverse brain ini, meta brain. Jadi perlu dilakukan kerjasama yang sudah kami kerjasama dengan ITB, dengan Telkom kemarin ya, sama-sama membuat webinar, dan sekarang juga alhamdulillah dengan PLN kita siap bekerja sama ya. Buat saya pentahelix itu nggak cukup. Pentahelix itu apa? Akademik, bisnis, ya, sampai ke media kan. Harus berapa helix nih? Multi helix, A B C D F X sampai Z. Buat saya seperti itu. Kenapa? Masyarakat juga harus kita ajak. Siapa lagi? Media harus kita ajak. Siapa lagi? Political party, whoever, ya siapa saja. Seluruh Indonesia kita harus ajak berkembang untuk agar ya aplikasi metaverse ini kita tidak hanya sebagai user, tetapi juga sebagai inovator di dalam metaverse. Ini saya katakan di sini bahwa hanya dengan nasionalisme yang tinggi kita bisa menyaingi raksasa teknologi digital maju dunia, agar dapat duduk sama rendah dan berdiri sama tinggi dengan mereka. Kita tentu tidak mau menjadi korban kapitalisme teknologi yang semakin mengancam dunia. Kalau tidak kita jadi pasar dari teknologi metaverse ini. Jadi pasar lagi kan, kuras lagi sumber daya kita. Nah ini yang kita tidak mau.
Waktunya
ya. Pas nih.
Ya.
Pas ini Pak. Dan saya pencet lagi. Terima kasih ya. Terima kasih ya, dan juga ada kontributornya, ada Dr. Iman Hermadi, Pak PhD student saya, Pak Kursiahi Valgenti, dan Pak Irawan Asunanto. Terima kasih semua, alhamdulillah tepat waktu nih Pak Soleh ya. Mudah-mudahan bermanfaat. Terima kasih.
Siap, Prof. Makasih banyak, Prof. Sangat bermanfaat sekali ya. Tadi beberapa highlight yang kita catat tadi ya, yang menarik tadi adanya digital twin, kemudian peluang-peluang untuk kita masuk di metaverse ya, baik dari sisi fisik dan non fisiknya tadi ya. Semua butuh listrik ya, pasti kita bisa masuk di sana, ataupun yang listrik virtual. Nah, tadi menarik sekali. Kemudian potensi untuk kita tadi ya pelatihan-pelatihan untuk menyediakan infrastruktur tambahan di dunia metaverse ini ya. Nah, baik, ini kita masuk ke sesi tanya jawab. Ya, baik, saya di kolom chat ini sudah ada 2 orang yang bertanya. Ini saya bacakan saja. Pertama dari Pak Gary Napitupulu dari Pelabuhan Ratu. Pertanyaan adalah bagaimana dengan payung hukum ataupun regulasi terhadap metaverse? Jangan-jangan ini ke depannya seperti separated monkey business ya. Ini monkey business seperti bunga tulip yang ratusan tahun yang lalu, yang salah satunya mendorong jelajah samudra ke Indonesia itu hebohnya bunga tulip. Kemudian kripto ya, koin-koin yang dikeluarkan oleh salah satu artis ya, koin artis itu apakah akan menjadi seperti itu? Itu pertanyaan pertama, Pak. Apakah mau dibaca dua-duanya atau kita satu persatu?
Satu-satu aja dulu, Pak.
Baik.
Ya, dari pertanyaan Pak Gary, memang pertanyaan kita semua, itu kan keraguan kita semua. Itulah menjadi keraguan kita semua terhadap bahaya dari metaverse ini. Tapi tentu saja inilah yang kita harus jaga ya. Bagaimana regulasinya kan sekarang dijaga oleh seluruh dunia, akhirnya menjaganya kan, karena tidak orang yang sudah masuk metaverse semuanya kan tidak ingin dia kecemplung di sana terus akhirnya jadi celaka gitu kan, akhirnya uangnya masuk sana akhirnya jadi celaka. Jadi dengan berbagai regulasi, sebagai contoh karena kita di sini disebut kripto kan di beberapa negara seperti Cina kan memang terang-terangan itu dilarang, tetapi di negara lain Amerika, Eropa itu diperbolehkan dengan ada regulasinya macam-macam bentuknya ya, dalam batas memeriksa ICO-nya, IPO-nya dan lain-lain. Kemudian juga seperti yang baru-baru ini ada kripto yang jatuh itu karena disebabkan oleh dia tidak memenuhi syarat dari regulasi pemerintah itu. Jadi regulasi memang kuncinya di sini. Jadi seperti yang kita baca terakhir di 3 hari lalu di Bapepti itu membolehkan sebanyak 229 kripto yang setelah diakses. Di luar itu tidak boleh dilarang, artinya tidak boleh atau dilarang. Artinya kalau orang mau invest, mau beli sebagai investment sih boleh saja. Tetapi kalau ada terjadi sesuatu tidak dijamin oleh pemerintah. Nah, yang lain dijamin. Jadi ada positif dan negatifnya nih. Ada hal yang kalau untuk suatu negara ada pro kontranya. Kalau kita misalnya suatu negara melarang secara total aset kripto dan lain-lain ya, aset yang digital itu, kemudian orang akan pergi ke luar negeri. Akhirnya kapital outflow kan, hilang tuh uangnya. Kalau dengan adanya aset, dengan adanya perdagangan itu di dalam negeri, maka rupiahnya dibelikan aset rupiah sendiri, aset Indonesia sendiri. Kira-kira seperti itu. Saya sendiri bukan pemain, saya kira sebagai gambaran saya tetap posisi saya adalah sebagai educator, dan perdebatan seperti ini memang sering, pertanyaan seperti ini memang sering disampaikan. Tapi karena kita hidup di Indonesia, kita lihat regulasi di Indonesia seperti apa. Sampai sana kan sudah diatur, di Bapepti sudah diatur. Termasuk metaverse ini nanti juga akan diatur, sejauh mana ini akan berkembang. Tapi memang ya, hampir semua teknologi itu mendahului regulasi. Di negara mana saja. Regulasinya belum ada. Akhirnya pembuat regulasi itu berpikir keras, ini bagaimana nih, mau saya larang, itu udah jalan. Nggak saya larang, mungkin ada bahaya. Dan pembuat regulasi kadang-kadang juga tidak terlalu mendalami tentang teknologi itu. Makanya inilah yang menuntut kerjasama. Harusnya dialog. Siapa yang mengetahui teknologinya? Universitas tahu teknologi itu. Tapi mungkin dia nggak punya speser pun kripto di kantongnya. Tapi dia tahu persis bagaimana mekanisme itu. Nah inilah kita berdialog di situ. Mau dibilang apa, dilarang apa disuruh orang gitu kan. Nah tanyalah ke universitas. Ini gambarannya seperti itu. Solusi dari tanggapan dari saya. Terima kasih Pak Soleh ya.
Ya, siap.
Pak Geri ya.
Ya, jadi memang kata regulasi sudah ada ya, Prof ya. Dengan adanya Bapepti
sudah ada.
Ya. 229 jenis kripto atau coins yang diizinkan bertransaksi ya. Baik, kita bacakan pertanyaan kedua dari Aditya Oktavianto. Nah, pertanyaan adalah saat ini pemerintah sudah mempersiapkan regulasi. Namun apakah untuk masuk ke metaverse ini aksi korporasi tetap menunggu regulasi keluar dulu atau sedari awal sudah kita join ya? Karena saya yakin semakin lama akan semakin biaya akuisisinya akan semakin tinggi. Demikian Prof.
Baik Pak. Ya, ini sangat benar, ini sangat realistis kan. Ya itu saya katakan tadi. Dimanapun negara manapun, kita tidak hanya bikin negara kita, selalu regulasi itu terlambat ya. Regulasi tentang data, kerahasiaan data, baru keluar setelah orang nyuri data, kan gitu. Data kita digotong semua, data suatu negara lah, jangan kita. Digotong oleh Facebook semua datanya, baru timbul ya undang-undang. Saya ikut juga jadi pembicara undang-undang kerahasiaan data, baru keluar. Eropa pun baru itu. Nah, kemarin saya ikut jadi pembicara di suatu ini. Bagaimana Indonesia juga masih RUU kalau nggak salah, belum jadi RUU. Data orang udah digotong baru keluar RUU. Ini sudah hilang baru ini. Nah inilah ya seharusnya ya ini saran untuk semua negara, seharusnya saran untuk siapapun bahwa regulasi pemerintah itu harus lebih cepat dari teknologi, sehingga teknologi itu ambil bagian atau dirangkul pemerintah untuk memprediksi teknologi apa lagi yang mau datang nih. Atau regulasinya dulu, bisa nggak gitu kan, baru kemudian teknologinya datang. Suatu contoh yang sederhana di pertanian saja. Di pertanian orang pakai drone pertanian, nggak tahu cara nerbangkan drone, nggak tahu dia bahwa drone itu ada SIM-nya, ya kan? Nah nanti dia terbang di atas Mandalika itu kan, orang lagi balap mobil atau ada presiden lagi mengunjungi, ya ditembak drone-nya sama pengawal-pengawal presiden kan. Kemarin kan banyak drone yang dijatuhkan. Karena anak-anak ini main drone itu. Dia nggak tahu tuh kalau drone itu harus ada surat izin mengemudi drone. Kira-kira begitu. Nah nggak tahu. Nah sebagai contoh itu ya. Sedangkan di negara Jepang dan Korea yang saya tahu untuk drone pertanian, Drone-nya belum ada, dia punya regulasinya. Nanti kalau ada drone, ya kita boleh terbangnya sekian meter di atas tanah, dikendalikan ini orangnya harus punya SIM. Nah, idealnya seperti itu. Demikian juga dengan metaverse, tapi metaverse kan udah masuk dulu. Baru kita nanti mencari regulasi. Ya, kita berpikiran positif, kita anggap saja. Sebelum ada regulasi ya silahkan main. Seperti orang naik motor, sebelum ada punya SIM, nggak tangkap polisi, naik aja. Mudah-mudahan kamu selamat kan gitu. Nggak jatuh kan gitu. Nanti kalau itu ya mudah-mudahan ya semua orang baik saja.
Ya.
Tapi regulasi harus segera. Ya. Kalau bisa sih duluan regulasi. Tapi sekarang sudah mendesak nih regulasi tentang metaverse, blockchain dan lain-lain. Ya demikian Pak.
Baik, ya. Makasih Prof insight-nya. Jadi memang kuncinya sebelum diatur boleh ya, sebelum peraturan dibolehkan. Ya. Tapi memang satu ketika kita juga harus ini ya, jangan FOMO gitu ya, fear of missing out. Jadi harus, tapi tidak juga ikut-ikutan ya.
Ya,
Baik,
ya.
harus lebih bijak juga ketika menyikapi ini ya.
Betul,
Baik,
Pak, betul.
baik. Untuk pertanyaan berikutnya, ini ada pertanyaan dari Pak Mulyadi Koto dari Semarang. Pertanyaan adalah untuk memasuki era metaverse dalam transaksinya menggunakan cryptocurrency. Bagaimana BUMN, dunia bisnis seperti BUMN ini bisa mengembangkan bisnisnya sementara untuk investasi di crypto currency masih ragu dengan kebijakan pemerintah ke depan. Demikian Prof. Pertanyaannya, bagaimana BUMN ini bisa masuk ke sana, sedangkan sebagai instrumen investasi kripto ini kan masih sangat volatile ya, belum bisa dipegang.
Ya. Pertanyaannya sangat sulit, tapi udah sering saya mendengar artinya, tapi saya menjawabkan kembali. Saya sebagai posisi saya sebagai educator, edukasi yang berusaha melakukan bersama membuat menjelaskan kepada orang lain seperti kata Pak ini tadi, nggak dijelaskan kan nanti makin tersesat ya, orang dijelaskan sekemampuan kita sesuai dengan ilmu kita, itu betul. Kemudian saya pernah menulis juga ini tentang menelisik uang digital Oktober 2020, sudah saya tuliskan juga di Republika, uang digital ya terkait dengan ini. Apa yang mau saya ceritakan bahwa kripto itu sebenarnya volatile karena tidak ada jaminan kan, tidak ada emasnya. Emasnya adalah emas digital, sementara uang kartal kita ada emasnya. Lalu pemerintah Cina ya sebelumnya adalah Facebook mengeluarkan uang juga yang namanya itu adalah Libra. Libra itu adalah uang digital Facebook, dijamin oleh 5 mata uang. Ya. Dijamin oleh dolar Singapura, yen, sama euro, ada satu lagi katakanlah Korea. Di luar Cina. Melihat ini lalu Cina berpikir, wah saya nggak dimasukkan ke sini, saya bikin sendiri uang digital. Nah keluarlah yang namanya DCEP, Digital Currency Electronic Payment, atau yuan digital. Yuan digital ini nilainya 1:1 dengan yuan kartal atau yuan kertas. Jadi dia sama dengan dijamin dengan emas kan gitu. Peredarannya bukan, dia tidak volatile ya, cuman bentuknya saja digital, teknologinya masih blockchain karena tidak boleh di-copy kan. Uang itu nggak boleh sama. Tidak boleh transaksi 2 kali. Saya udah beli ini 1 juta, besok saya beli lagi 1 juta, uang saya cuma 1 juta. Kontrolnya itu gimana? Dengan blockchain tadi. Nah, jadilah namanya DCEP atau yuan digital. Nah, di bagian akhir saya ini retorika, apakah Indonesia juga akan mengeluarkan rupiah digital? Nah, kita nggak tahu. Tapi sudah ada wacana rupiah digital 2021 nanti kan. 2020 sudah ada saya baca. Nah, jadi artinya memang akhirnya orang ya berubah, transformasi ya mata uang itu menjadi mata uang digital yang di backup oleh teknologi blockchain. Bentuknya bisa murni kripto yang volatile tadi, yang emasnya adalah emas abstrak ya. Tapi bisa juga yang tadi karena dikeluarkan oleh central bank masing-masing seperti DCP itu dikeluarkan oleh Central Bank of China. Jadi dia sama dengan yuan digital. Masih ada tapinya. Masih ada tapinya apa? Dengan uang itu dikontrol pemerintah, dikeluarkan oleh pemerintah, maka seri uangnya kan tahu siapa yang menggunakan. Si A menggunakan uang, si A punya uang, uangnya ini serinya ini, kemudian dibelikan ini, kan tahu. Sehingga privacy sekarang menjadi isu. Kalau uang digital itu dikeluarkan privacy. Kalau sekarang dompet kita ada isinya 1 juta, kita beli apa saja orang nggak tahu kalau itu uang kita kan? Karena ada anonymity, nggak tahu kan? Tapi karena direkam di digital, jadi kita penerima uang serinya apa kan harus tahu. Kalau nggak nanti dikira uang palsu. Nah, kalau waktu kita beli kan uang itu pindah ke siapa kan kita tahu. Nah, orang di negara-negara liberal itu tidak menginginkan, tidak bisa seperti itu. Dia ingin anonymity, nggak tahu nih uang siapa dan ini. Jadi makanya itu uang digital itu akan berkembang terus teknologinya. Nah, di situ juga saya katakan, saya sampaikan ya, kalau untuk menghadapi itu ya kita harus teknologi tentang uang digital juga harus kita pelajari bagaimana agar dia juga bagus dan anonim. Ya, tidak volatile, tidak spekulasi tinggi, tetapi juga dia anonim. Nah, teknologi itulah yang harus kita kembangkan, yang harus kita ikut pelajari. Demikian mungkin menjawab sekemampuan saya.
Ya, makasih Prof. Tadi. Ya, menarik sekali ya bahwa tadi mengenai mata uang, salah satu latar belakang kenapa orang banyak sekali tertarik dengan kripto adalah tadi ya anonim dan bebas dari ibaratnya tuh big brother ya atau institusi finansial yang sudah mapan ya karena seolah-olah sangat liberal ya sehingga ingin lepas dari cengkraman kapitalisme gitu ya seolah-olah sehingga punya mata uang tersendiri yang sangat tidak ada pengendalinya kan seperti itu dikendalikan oleh algoritma. Ya baik, makasih jawabannya. Kemudian saya bacakan pertanyaan berikutnya adalah dari Pak Rahmat Lubis. Ya, apakah dampak yang paling positif dan paling negatif bagi dunia nyata dari kacamata manusia sebagai makhluk sosial ya, jika metaverse berkembang pesat? Apa mitigasi yang harus kita lakukan? Demikian pertanyaan dari Pak Rahmat Lubis.
Wah, luar biasa nih. Ini pertanyaan untuk saya atau untuk semua orang di dunia yang termasuk pengembang metaverse ya. Jadi jangankan metaverse, AI saja Pak. Ya kita bicara AI dulu nanti ke Pak. AI itu kan ada 2 sekarang. Ya, AI kalau dikembangin terus bisa menjadi 2. Bisa menjadi dystopian, bisa menjadi sesuatu yang menguntungkan, bisa menjadi sesuatu yang menghancurkan. Karena kalau dikembangkan terus satu manusia di-replace. Manusia nganggur, nggak bisa makan, ya. Sementara AI yang nggak perlu makan bekerja terus kan robot itu kan, dia nggak bisa kehancuran manusia. Kedua, AI itu nanti kan ujungnya adalah komputer itu bisa berpikir, ya melebihi manusia. Kalau dia melebihi manusia berarti dia menjadi bosnya manusia, menjadi apanya slave-nya AI. Wah ini berbahaya ya. Masa kita menciptakan suatu barang yang akhirnya kita menjadi budak dari barang itu. Kemudian banyak lagi bahayanya nanti ya kalau kognitif science itu dikembangkan seperti tadi. Ya apa yang di otak orang kita bisa baca, orang mau melakukan itu kita bisa baca. Akhirnya bisa terjadi chaos. Makanya akhirnya ya saya pernah tulis juga itu dalam artikel yang namanya mengintip industri 5.0. Orang masih 4.0, waktu itu saya membahas apa sih yang akan terjadi di 5.0. Itu bisa yang disebut dengan teknologi singularity. Jadi karena teknologi itu berkembang sejauh demikian rupa sehingga kita nggak tahu lagi nanti akan jadi apa dan manusia akan jadi seperti apa kan gitu kan. Akhirnya singularity, bahasa gampangnya saya cari apa sih singularity itu, anggap aja kiamatnya manusia ini nggak ada lagi di muka bumi ini. Nah, seperti juga teknologi nuklir, apakah kita akan gunakan untuk menghancurkan bumi ini kan? 8 aja bom nuklir, hancurlah bumi ini, dunia manusia tidak ada lagi. Jadi manusia membuat teknologi yang memusnahkan dia sendiri. Nah, ini remnya apa? Remnya adalah ya beberapa pengguna AI adalah yang disebut dengan akhirnya timbullah dengan friendly AI. AI yang bersahabat dengan manusia. Memang agak kurang populer, atau AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, yang kira-kira itu sebenarnya merem perkembangan teknologi AI ini agar dia tidak merusak perkembangan. Itu baru AI saja. Bahkan AI ini bisa membuat kalau cognitive science, kalau otak manusia ini semua kesadarannya bisa ditaruh komputer, maka immortality, manusia nggak bisa mati, fisiknya dikubur, tapi otaknya masih ada di komputer. Dia bisa nangis kalau lihat sesuatu, dia bisa tertawa kalau lihat uangnya naik. Tapi orangnya nggak ada, udah dikubur. Tapi otaknya, kesadarannya yang disebut artificial consciousness itu ada di komputer. Ya kan? dan nggak pernah mati. Itu yang disebut dengan immortality. Nah, bagaimana agama menafsirkan ini? Wah, sulit sekali kan. Dan di film sudah ada namanya, apa nama filmnya saya lupa, itu nonton di pesawat. Saya lihat, saya cari-cari mana filmnya. Tapi itu immortality, tujuan manusia kan immortality, nggak mati-mati. Makanya Fir'aun mau dibalsem dia biar nggak mati katanya. Nah, sekarang dengan adanya cognitive science itu bisa terjadi. Ya, kira-kira begitu. Nah, itu moralnya di mana? Apanya, nah, regulasinya mana tuh? Apalagi agama, ya, fatwa agama di mana? Nah, kedua adalah tadi ya, berkembang pesat, dengan demikian juga dengan metaverse, Pak, akan seperti itu nanti. Ada orang diperkosa katanya di metaverse. Ya kan sudah terjadi. Begitu dia keluar rumah diperkosa di dalam metaverse, dia nuntut ya memperkosanya itu. Kemudian bagaimana dengan hukum? Ada orang menikah di metaverse lagi nanti kan, dan seterusnya dan seterusnya. Naik haji sudah dibahas, naik haji lewat metaverse, jelas itu nggak bisa kan? Ka'bahnya ada, metaverse dari Ka'bah itu ada, dibuat orang-orang Arab Saudi, tapi naik haji itu tidak sah. Tetapi yang positifnya apa? Ada ulama, saya lihat di TV waktu itu ditanya, positifnya orang bisa manasik haji dengan sedetail-detailnya, daripada di lapangan kita buat kotak hitam itu Ka'bah, ini adalah Hajar Aswad, nggak perlu lagi pakai metaverse. Positifnya kan itu, tapi itu belum sah rukunnya kalau belum datang ke sana. Nah, itu makanya harus diajak ulama, ilmuwan dan lain-lain. Saya pikir itu ya. Nanti apalagi tadi yang pertanyaan negatifnya bagaimana? Yang negatif ya itu tadi, bisa berkembang ke, bisa kiamat dunia. Dunia nyata nggak ada lagi, dunia habis, dunia nyata, kita hidup di dunia maya. Itulah kiamatnya dunia nyata kan gitu. Saya pikir itu ya.
Ya, makasih Prof. Mungkin gambaran terdekat dari metaverse itu di film Ready Player One ya.
Oh ya, ya sedang mau main itu.
Sudah main ya. Kemudian main, ya ini barangkali teman-teman juga kalau yang pengen tadi bagaimana mengcopy kesadaran itu ada di filmnya Transcendence, Prof.
Transcendence ya, Transcendence. Ya. Transcendence satu lagi ya, Transcendence satu lagi. Ya, ada dua. Yang Transcendence yang saya masuk tadi.
Ya, itu menarik sekali ini. Jadi kuncinya memang harus menyeimbangkan tadi ya antara fisik dan non fisiknya ya. Jadi kita harus tetap terconnected dengan fisik karena mau tidak mau itulah yang kita hidup di dunia nyata ya. Ya. Baik Prof, ada pertanyaan satu lagi. Ini ada dua lagi nih dari Pak Lukman Mujahidin nih. Kalau PT IP masuk atau membuat metaverse ekosistem, bayangan saya bisa digunakan untuk training pegawai. Namun kalau secara produk IP yang berupa listrik, kira-kira apa yang bisa dijual di dunia metaverse? Tadi Prof. Tadi sempat dijelaskan sepintas, mungkin bisa diuraikan kembali.
Kalau secara produk IP yang berupa energi listrik, ya. Kalau energi listrik mungkin enggak ya. Maksudnya gini, digital electricity tadi kan ke arah gini. Kita merancang, yang dijual itu adalah konsultansi ya, problem solution untuk sebuah kota. Kota ini perlu listrik sekian, kita pelajarinya lewat metaverse, bukan produknya. Produk listriknya, kalau produk listriknya ya lewat perantara tadi, perantara of token, listriknya listrik nyata. Artinya listrik maya kan belum ada ya. Kalau listrik maya mungkin saya dapat hadiah Nobel kan, belum ada kan listrik maya. Tetapi bagaimana kita mendesain suatu listrik di suatu kota, ya kota ini, jangankan kota, ruangan aja Pak, kita punya ruangan kita bikin rumah baru, lalu kita ingin membuat penerangan yang paling efisien, ya kan, lampunya paling hemat energi, tapi terangnya bagus. Nah, kalau sampai saat ini kan orang ngitung dengan teknik fisika biasanya, rumus-rumus fisika kan. Nah, sampai sekarang kita bisa dibantu dengan simulasi dari hal itu. Jadi kita menjual jasa untuk menghitung optimum listrik itu berapa. Kemudian to promote green energy. Nah, kemudian kita lihat ini problem seperti yang tadi, pertanian di metaverse. Orang belajar nanam, pupuk di sana di metaverse, tapi prakteknya di dunia nyata. Karena belum ada padi digital. Kita belum bisa makan nasi digital kan. Masih harus ada fisiknya. Nah, demikian juga yang tadi, kira-kira gitu Pak jawabannya. Mudah-mudahan ini bisa mengena nih, tapi karena agak sulit ya saya tadi.
Iya.
Ya.
Memang ini menjadi challenge buat kita ya untuk
Kalian ini ya sama-sama makanya nanti Pak kita.
Ya Pak, kita siap kolaborasi lah
Ya.
nanti untuk mengembangkan ini. Ya, pertanyaan berikutnya mungkin untuk sesi ini kita tutup sesi pertanyaan terakhir nih. Ada dari Pak Beni Samudra. Apakah metaverse memanfaatkan peta existing atau benar new virtual world? Nah, jika memanfaatkan peta existing, bagaimana hak kekayaan intelektual maksudnya ya atas pemanfaatan properti masing-masing manusia. Kemudian pertanyaan kedua, metaverse merupakan bagian dari pengembangan dari teknologi internet dengan resiko zero real accident kecuali financial risk. Untuk mata uang virtual ini, apakah bisa ditransformasikan ke real currency di mana merupakan partial transformation dari real metaverse? Demikian Pak, ada 2 pertanyaan. Jadi terkait dengan hak kekayaan intelektual, kemudian apakah mata uang virtual bisa ditransformasikan ke real currency?
Ya,
dari Pak
yang pertama itu menarik. Sekarang udah terjadi misalnya ya. Google itu membuat peta, itu kan ada mobilnya datang keliling-keliling kan. Nah, saya lihat itu di kampus IPB ada mobil Google, ngapain? Rupanya dia mau buat peta di dalam kampus itu. Terus mau kita apain, kita larang, kita usir, berarti dia udah punya izin kan gitu ya. Ya, dia punya izin untuk membuat peta. Itu baru peta jalan tuh, peta jalan 2 dimensi, sudah ada isu itu kan. Ada orang yang nggak mau rumahnya difoto. Wah, nggak mau saya rumahnya difoto. Waktu itu masuk perumahan kan, mana izinnya katanya. Jadi ada regulasi, memang harus ada regulasi. Apalagi ini terkait seperti tadi, terkait dengan isu seperti itu ada yang sudah ada fisiknya baru kita metaverse-kan. Misalnya kita mau metaverse-kan museum atau misalnya gedung di Jakarta atau katakanlah ini yang paling seru misalnya markas besar Angkatan Darat misalnya kita metaverse-kan. Wah, itu kan banyak rahasia di situ. Ya kan? Ada isu HAM, ada isu, jadi harus ada izin, regulasi, mau nggak mau, ya kan gitu. Pentagon misalnya mau di metaverse kan. Karena kalau oke lah, suatu saat kita menolak atau siapapun menolak kan. Tetapi kalau semua dunia sudah direplikasi, kan pasti ada yang ini kan, ada yang disembunyikan kan gitu. Oh ini orang belum bisa lihat ini, kenapa nih kan gitu, penasaran kan gitu kan. Akhirnya dibuka juga kan gitu, seperti itu. Yang saya maksud gini gambarannya, satu saat dilarang. Dulu orang bawa kamera, ya saya dengar bawa kamera ke Ka'bah nggak boleh kan moto kan. Sekarang bagaimana mau moto ya? Yang namanya handphone yang kita kantongin kecil itu gimana mencegah orang sebanyak itu orang terus moto Ka'bah, nggak bisa. Sekarang malah dibuat metaverse. Ayo buat metaverse kamu. Tapi yang membuat pemerintahnya, nggak bisa semua orang kan. Nah itulah di situ. Jadi yang membuat pemerintahnya. Mungkin ada yang disembunyikan oleh pemerintah, boleh aja dia yang buat. Kecuali ada metaverse versi lain. Swasta nih, ya saya sebagai pribadi mau buat metaverse-nya ini. Nah, kamu dapat data dari mana? Masuknya aja nggak bisa kan gitu kan. Nah, berarti ngarang-ngarang nih metaverse-nya. Makanya tadi di awal kan ada metaverse planet Mars. Yang buat tuh NASA. Karena yang baru planet Mars baru NASA yang tahu kan gitu kan. Orang lain belum tahu, kira-kira seperti itu. Jadi ada isu memang HAM ya. Pemanfaatan properti masing-masing manusia memang ada itu. Ada aturannya, ada regulasi. Yang kedua mungkin saya minta penjelasan konkretnya gimana Pak? Karena saya sudah membahas tadi tentang uang digital ya, yang nilainya 1:1 dengan uang kartal. Kalau itu kan artinya 1:1 uang digital itu adalah uang kartal juga, sama kan sebenarnya?
Betul. Ya mungkin ini
sudah terjawab mungkin ya?
Ya mungkin sudah terjawab Pak. Baik, ini ada pertanyaan unik dari Pak terakhir mungkin Pak. Ini masih ada waktu 5 menit dari Pak Daniel ya. Apakah mungkin token listrik menjadi crypto coin untuk menjadi energi listrik di metaverse? Jadi sebagai contoh di Meta nanti kita tidak bisa nyalain TV-nya naik mobil kalau belum beli token kripto energi gitu ya maksudnya. Nah sehingga itulah mungkin yang bisa peluang sesuatu yang kita transaksikan di dunia metaverse. Nah,
ini sebenarnya Pak, ini pertanyaannya keluar. Ini sebenarnya yang jadi pemikiran saya juga Pak. Jadi token itu ya ada underlying asetnya tuh listriknya PLN kan gitu. Kalau nggak punya token itu kita nggak bisa nyalain listrik kan gitu. Nah itu. Itu kalau ini bagus tuh Pak, kalau memang bisa dijamin. Tapi tetap di awal kan saya terus terang saya nggak tahu bagaimana regulasi kan listrik apa ini kan apa ya regulasinya tuh harus digunakan semakmur-makmur untuk kesejahteraan rakyat, nggak boleh dimonopoli dan lain-lain ya. Saya terus terang tidak membahas itu. Tapi kalau secara possibility itu bagus. Jadi listrik itu kalau kita nggak punya token itu kita juga nggak bisa nyalain listrik di metaverse kan, contohnya seperti itu kan.
Ya.
Wah itu apakah itu itu keren tuh Pak kan gitu kan. Nah itu bisnis nyata tuh kira-kira. Tolong dicari regulasinya aja. Saya terus terang baru beberapa hari ini karena diminta tentang bisnis listrik baru saya pelajari Pak. Jadi tapi alhamdulillah nyambung juga apa yang saya sampaikan kan gitu. Tapi realnya nanti itu Pak. Tapi itu ide itu juga yang ini di kepala saya waktu Pak. Jadi bagaimana listrik ini apa ada kriptonya. PLN punya kripto, Indonesia Power punya kripto, dan kripto itu value-nya nggak kayak asik itu, nggak kayak yang terjun bebas, karena itu kan terjun bebas mungkin ada nilainya bagus gitu, karena di belakangnya ada underlying aset listrik kan gitu. Nah masalah boleh apa tidak dan lain-lain itu mungkin kita kaji lagi. Terus terang saya gelap di sana, tapi secara ide bebas itu sangat bagus Pak, saya pikir. Mungkin bisa dibantu nanti kita diskusikan lagi lebih mendalam tentang itu.
Ya, baik, Prof. Karena waktu juga yang membatasi tadi sesi tanya jawab sudah kita selesaikan. Terima kasih banyak atas penjelasannya. Jadi beberapa hal yang tadi menjadi highlight ya adalah ya kripto ini masih sesuatu yang ranahnya terbuka ya, namanya ini produk inovasi sehingga selama belum diatur kita bisa masuk ya. Nah kita memang harus mencari regulasi yang kira-kira akan mendekati. Nah sehingga kita masih bisa masuk ya. Namun juga harus bijak juga ketika kita masuk karena masih tadi ya banyak sekali volatilitas dan tidak pasti sehingga memang kalau bisa mencoba tapi tidak terlalu ya banyak effort. Nah, seperti kita dengar kan beberapa perusahaan sudah katakanlah Samsung buka toko di metaverse sudah miliaran US ya, dia mengeluarkan dana untuk investasi di dunia metaverse. Nah, ya kita mungkin juga bisa mencoba masuk dengan mencoba optimalkan tadi beberapa peluang-peluang bisnis yang bisa kita ambil di metaverse ini. Ya, saya ucapkan terima kasih banyak atas seluruh diskusinya dan tanya jawabnya. Semoga ini bermanfaat buat kita semua dan kita bisa mengambil hikmah dari ya adanya teknologi ini dan kita ya paling tidak menyesuaikan atau melakukan mitigasi tadi ya yang oleh ditanyakan oleh Pak Rahmat Lubis. Ya. Untuk penutup mungkin saya izin bacakan pantun. Semoga nyambung nih Pak. Semoga ya. Jalan-jalan mencari blockchain untuk membeli NFT yang baru.
Cakep.
Mari kita bangun sinergi dan kolaborasi buat IP meroket semakin maju.
Cakep.
Baik, saya kembalikan ke pembawa acara. Terima kasih banyak. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Pak Muhammad Saleh dan juga Pak Yandra. Mungkin sebelumnya kita foto bersama dulu Pak Muhammad Saleh ya dengan Pak Yandra.
Profesor Yandra, betul. Kami mohon kepada Bapak dan Ibu untuk membuka kamera terlebih dahulu. Kita
nanti setelah foto bersama saya izin live ya, ada kegiatan lain. Bisa?
Siap, Profesor.
Boleh.
Baik, Bapak dan Ibu.
Terima kasih nih Bapak yang sudah mengundang. Terima kasih semua.
Iya,
silakan BOD ya.
Iya, sama-sama Bapak. Ya. Kita angkat 2 jempol buat Pak Yandra dan tim. Ya. Kita akan hitung mundur. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Baik, terima kasih Bapak dan Ibu sekalian.
Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, terima kasih Pak Yandra dan Pak Soleh, terima kasih.
Oke, ladies and gentlemen, Bapak dan Ibu yang berbahagia, the next sharing session and it would be the last one. We have Mr. Farun Verma and it looks he already joined us. Hello, Mr. Verma.
Hi, good morning, selamat pagi everybody.
Good morning. Selamat pagi. Thank you for having time with us today, and for sure we're glad to have you here to sharing with us. Oke, Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, Mr. Varun Verma is a strategic specialist sales manager for asset performance management, AVEVA Asia Pacific Sendirian Berhad. And the topic today it would be present is integrated strategic asset management. And this session would be conducted by Mr. Dadang Gumbira as moderator. Mr. Dadang Gumbira, the time is yours.
Okay. Honorable Indonesia Power Board of Director, our distinguished guest, Mr. Varun Verma, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay. My name is Dadang, senior analyst in Indonesia Power, and today I will serving you as a moderator. Today we will be hearing a presentation from Mr. Varun Verma, strategic specialist sales manager from AVEVA, which is well known as a leader in the digital transformation and has Schneider Electric as a main shareholder, if I'm not mistaken. And our topic today is about the integrated strategic asset management. And yeah, for your information, Pak Verma, Indonesia Power is already implemented the integrated strategic asset management that refer to mostly to ISO 55,000 series, and we also have done a lot on digitalization of our business process and database. And I hope this presentation from AVEVA would give us a better understanding about the asset management and the digitalization. Okay, well, without further ado, I would like to welcome the presenter to deliver presentation. You will have 30 minutes for presentation and 40 minutes for question and answer. All right, Mr. Verma, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Pak Dadang. Let me start sharing my screen to test if you all can see it properly, my presentation, if everything is visible and you can hear me all right. Pak Dadang, can you confirm?
Yeah, good.
Great, thank you. Again, selamat pagi everybody, good morning. My name is Varun Verma. I'm responsible for driving the asset performance management portfolio within AVEVA for full Southeast Asian India region. I have been doing this for more than 12 years now, and my primary focus has been helping customers such as yourself drive digital transformation initiatives, but focused more on asset management. So to today's topic, the theme is integrated strategy asset management, but I have changed it a bit. And I said, I'm going to talk more about integrated asset strategy management in today's world, right? Since the time COVID has hit us, there's a lot of acceleration in digital transformation across companies. There are a lot of new themes, new trends in the market. And today I would take this opportunity to present to you how major customers across the globe are implementing and adopting these technologies. A brief introduction about AVEVA. Most of you might know it. AVEVA has been a leader in the industrial digital transformation space for more than 50 years. We are listed on the London Stock Exchange. We are the largest software company on the London Stock Exchange. 3 years ago, Schneider Electric made a strategic investment and is now a 60% shareholder of AVEVA. And I'm very pleased to tell you that last year we completed the acquisition of OSI Soft. So the OSI Pi installation, which you are using extensively within Indonesia Power, is also under AVEVA portfolio as of now. Our market capitalization right now is more than $13 billion. And as you can see on the right side, we are spending most of our revenue or most of our business comes from the energy and power industry, which contributes to more than 50% of our business totally. I think in today's world, we cannot talk about digitization without focusing on sustainability. So AVEVA as an organization is committed to supporting the realization of a 1.5 degree centigrade future. And these are our climate pledges. So we are trying to achieve net zero carbon emission by 2050 and building momentum around decarbonized economy. We have set science-based targets to reduce 1.5 degrees. And we are in a critical year for climate change, and as part of 2030 agenda, we have pledged to achieve net zero emissions across our operations by 2030. I am very sure that even Indonesia Power has some targets around sustainability and driving these changes. And this is also a core of what Aviva is doing. And I want to talk to you about sustainability for 1 minute, right? Again, like I said, in today's world, sustainability is a very, very important criteria. And I'm not talking about sustainability only from a clean energy or green energy perspective. I'm also talking about sustainability in terms of your current thermal production as well, right? And what we are talking about is an integrated industrial information actually accelerates sustainability. So in our opinion, it's kind of a 4-step process that can help you achieve that sustainability. The first one is, sustainability imperatives are mapped using the technologies that are required, which then gets supported by the platform and applications using AI, which further helps you enrich your engineering information and operations information. Then there is also information as a service, right, where the sustainability information is visualized and shared across your entire ecosystem. The cloud supports your connected worker. There's a more resilience in the value chain across your organization. And then there is accelerated transition where the connected innovations enable you to help achieve your sustainability growth goals with faster time to scale new technologies and faster time to value on data insights. So in reality, if sustainability is the core theme in the world today, and if sustainability is something that Indonesia Power is also looking at, integrated industrial information and technologies really accelerate that achievement. And there are a lot of ways you can achieve sustainability, like I said, but today I'm going to talk to you about asset management. So let me talk to you about sustainability through asset management or asset performance management as the new trend in the market is, right? First of all, the machine learning and artificial intelligence drastically extend your equipment life cycles, thereby improving your safety as well as your regulatory compliances. When you look at predictive process optimization models, it helps you identify your operating conditions for minimum energy consumption and thereby increasing your first time right and minimizing your waste. And then there are things like predictive analytics, which enables a shift from reactive break to repair maintenance to predictive and prescriptive maintenance, thereby lowering your replacement part, which needs, and increasing your asset utilization, thereby contributing with less energy consumption across the globe. So what I'm trying to give you is a theme of how asset management supports your sustainability initiatives in today's world. And it is not only about green energy, like I would like to say again, right? It is talking about extending your life cycle equipment. It is talking about improving your safety and regulatory compliances. It is talking about less energy consumption, reducing your spare parts required, increasing your utilization. And that's how also, even in your conventional energy production, you can contribute. And I have a case study here who is an Aviva customer called EDF, which are one of the world's largest power company. They did not have the capability to detect the early warning sign of future asset failures. And today they have gone ahead, and just like yourself, they were a PI customer. They combined this with our predictive analytics solution. And today it is helping them achieve substantial value in terms of early warning identification of a problem, right? So asset management, one of the key things that it is driving in today's world is sustainability, both for your conventional and your new energy initiatives. So when I talk to you about asset strategy management or asset performance management, what is the prize, right? Why is it that the executives in this room should care about asset management? And I'm very pleased to tell you that the value is very, very real. Keeping the sustainability part aside, which it helps you accelerate, if I talk to you about core tangibles, an integrated asset strategy management initiative can help you reduce your spare parts cost reduction by 10 to 20%. It has been seen across customers that it helps you increase your availability by 2 to 5%, reduction in reactive maintenance by 20 to 30%, EHS reduction by 5 to 20%, and thereby gain in employee productivity by 10 to 20%. These numbers are very tangible, very real, something that customers achieve across the globe. And that is why I would show you this slide, that a leader in Gartner says few technology areas will have greater potential to improve your financial performance and position of a commercial global enterprise than asset management. So the time is now. The time is now, and like Pa Dadang said, Indonesia Power has already been doing a lot of digitization initiatives. You already have implemented a PI system to capture your real-time data, and you are looking in the right direction. It's very important to now have a structured approach to asset management, because the value is very real, very tangible, and something that you can achieve very fast, thereby also driving sustainability. So another way to look at it from an operations perspective is from a failure patterns, right? There was a study that was done by ARC, which shows that only 18% of failures are age related, for which a reactive or a preventive program is sustainable. But 82% of the failures that happen in a plant are random failures, for which you require early warning detection techniques and predictive technologies to help you achieve that. And while you embark on this journey, I want to talk to you about maturity, right? If you look at it, there are 5 levels of maturity in the market, right? Reactive maintenance, preventive maintenance, condition-based maintenance, predictive maintenance, and risk-based maintenance. So it is very important that we look at it holistically and we try, because as you go up the funnel, your risk of operations go down, your costs go down, and you improve, they are able to gain maximum reliability and availability to your asset management initiatives. And because there may be some themes that you are implementing, but in today's world, a lot has changed. So we started off with APM 1.0 era, which was more based on paper-based systems and processes, right? Then came the APM 2.0 wave, where organizations such as yourself implemented CMMS or EM applications, like you have implemented Maximo, and customers moved towards something what is called OEM-based maintenance or time-based maintenance. Then came the wave of APM 3.0, where organizations such as yourself started implementing instrumentation and putting instrumentation on your assets, getting more real-time data, doing more like condition-based maintenance, and looking at maintenance strategies development. And in today's world, we are in the wave of APM 4.0, which is also called the digital transformation age, which is also synonymous with Industry 4.0, where you have smart and connected assets and services, you have predictive analytics, machine learning, digital twins, best practices, all encompassing. And the beauty is, as this is evolving, you are able to handle more and more complex asset management problems that you may be facing in your facilities. Okay. So what are the pillars? And I think perhaps this is my most important slide for you. What are the pillars for a successful integrated asset strategy management initiative, right? Now, before I talk to you about pillars, I want to tell you that you might be producing tons of maintenance data, business data, engineering data, operations data in terms of transaction data, sensor, digital twin data, digital process data. So there is an influx of too much of data, whether digital or analog, that you might be capturing. And to build a successful strategy for integrated asset management, it rests on 5 pillars for you. The first pillar is called connected asset. The second pillar is called connected strategy. The third pillar is called connected worker. The fourth pillar is called connected content. And encompassing all of this is the connected visualization. So if today, the one thing that I would want to leave you with is, when you're looking at an integrated strategic asset management in FY22-23, you have to focus on these 5 pillars holistically to be able to drive a valuable or tangible return. And the beauty, and because as you can see, there's so much of data, there is subject matter expert knowledge, all this data, it's time to utilize that data, make sense of that data, build the right approach towards your asset using these 5 pillars. So let me explain to you now, what are these 5 pillars and why is it important? And I will start off with a connected asset, right? Think of a steam turbine in this case, which is a very critical asset for you, right? What I mean by connected asset is using your real-time data, which you are anyways capturing in your PI system, and use it for, let's say, condition management or condition monitoring, where you can create rules looking at the current condition and can set up automatic generation of your work orders. You can also use this real-time data from the connected asset perspective and do predictive analytics, which will use artificial intelligence kind of initiatives that helps you identify early warning signs of equipment problem. And you need to look at it that it should not only be predictive, but it should also be prescriptive so that you get detection as well as diagnosis of your equipment problem. And the third thing is intelligence from your connected asset, right? Connecting all the multiple plants and data sources together, measuring the information in context, real-time access to the KPIs, your performance, all of that together is possible through the first pillar, which is connected asset. The second pillar that I want to talk to you about is connected strategy, right? Now, typically, a lot of organizations are still talking about doing OEM-based maintenance, right? Or more like a time-based maintenance. But the one-size-fit-all kind of strategy does not work for all your asset types. It's very important to look at it from a risk perspective and understand which are your high critical asset, which are your medium critical asset, which are your low critical asset. And from a connected strategy perspective, it is important that you look at the strategy holistically for your entire plant and identify what are the failure modes that you want to avoid, right? How exactly, what are the actions you need to take? What is the effect? How do you minimize the effect of these failure modes on your equipment? What is, and connected to that, how do you balance and optimize your spare strategy? And like I said, we cannot treat all assets same way, right? There are certain assets where you can have a run to failure strategy, right? Where you can just do corrective maintenance post breakdown because the cost of repair may be much higher than a cost of replacement. But when we talk about preventive maintenance strategy, we're talking about planned maintenance, predictive maintenance, prescriptive maintenance, all of that coupled together. So the core of a connected strategy pillar is to help you define the right maintenance strategy based on your asset criticality, defining, balancing your risk, cost, and performance together so that your failures can be mitigated to an acceptable level in a holistic ecosystem. So that's pillar number 2. The third pillar that I want to talk to you about, which is perhaps very important, is connected content. Now, we discussed, and I know that Indonesia Power as an organization is generating so much of data. So imagine there's so much of failure data generating, but this is very, very specific to you. What if I could provide you a library which was based on industry best practice, right? It was based on industry benchmarking. Now, with your data, you can couple and merge it with the industry best practice data in line with ISO 14224 and combine it all together so that you can use this content for a lot of things. For example, your prescriptive actions, for defining the right maintenance plans, sometimes even helping you define the right OEM vendors in case you're going for an asset replacement. This content with your content and with the industry benchmark content, if you merge it together, the value is immense. And when I talk to you about connected asset and connected strategy in the beginning, this content further enriches the utilization in terms of defining the strategy as well as defining the prescriptive actions or condition-based maintenance strategies, looking at it holistically, right? So the third very important pillar is content, and you need to look at how you can leverage not only your data, but also the industry best practice benchmark data as well. The fourth pillar is, of course, worker, a connected worker, right? Your people on the field needs to be empowered, right? To be able to manage their operations in a digital format. And I'm talking not only about a handheld device where you are doing a maintenance round, operations round, you can do that. But I'm also talking to take it one level beyond. For example, work permits. Today, a lot of time in organizations such as yourself is spent on paper-based work permit management process, right? The paper is routed one place to another, and then it gets approved. It's very time-consuming. But imagine the concept of taking everything paperless. So I'm talking about a combination of people, process, data, apps, and devices together. This is where AR, VR also comes into the picture, and it is empowering your people on the field so that they are able to manage your asset in the most effective way possible. And the fifth pillar, like I said, for that is connected visualization. And again, I bring it down to the aspect that there is so much of asset data and operation data across the entire life cycle. It's very important to merge it all together, whether it is the engineering data, operation data, safety data, maintenance data, availability data, reliability data, bring it all together at one place to have a single source of truth. And what you see on the right side on this image is actually what one of our customers has done, which they have called it as a command and control center, where at one place they're able to connect all the systems across all the sites together and then really gain the benefits of a comprehensive and connected strategy and asset together, right? So 5 pillars I spoke to you about, which is very important in an integrated strategy asset management: connected asset, connected strategy, connected content, connected worker, and connected visualization. So I hope that makes sense. And I want to explain to you how we do it for you and how it all comes together of an end-to-end view, right? So like I said, you have an asset, you have all the plant level data that is coming in, you have an EM application, which is IBM Maxima, and this is a firewall, right? The first thing that happens is you pull in all the real-time data into a historian, right? You already have OSIs of 5. You use that data for condition monitoring and predictive analytics, like I showed you from a connected asset perspective. It helps you understand your current asset condition and take an action, as well as give you an early warning sign of notification for any problem, right? Now, you can use these two systems to go ahead and create a notification directly in your IBM Maximo for any of the issues that you have identified. To enrich the data of condition monitoring and asset predictive analytics comes connected content, right? So Aviva provides an asset strategy library, which then merges with your library, like I said, and it is pushing the prescriptive actions both to your condition monitoring system as well as to your predictive analytics system. This library keeps getting enriched on a real time, as well as based on how you identify more and more failure modes for your assets. So this is where connected strategy comes into the picture. So like RCM, FMEAs, RBIs, whatever you do for your assets, it is helping you identify new failure mode, effects, action, mean time between failure, mean time to repair. All that information then keeps going into this connected content library for you, thereby enriching your condition monitoring and predictive analytics. This connected strategy piece, also known as risk-based maintenance, can then push the maintenance plan and strategy directly to your EM application and also to your connected worker. So now the worker on the field knows exactly what the maintenance plan is, what the strategy is, what the frequency is, how the shift handover needs to happen, right? What are the checklists that they need to follow? All of that is interchanged from a strategy perspective from the connected strategy pillar, which is this. Now, the connected worker also integrates back to your EM application. So EM becomes your master transactional system where all the systems that you see are pushing the data and information. And then you pull in all the information, like I said, like asset health indicators, asset health alerts, transaction KPI, alarm dashboard, KPIs for reliability, connected work KPIs into a centralized visualization platform, which is what we call as connected visualization. I'm very proud and pleased to tell you everything on the right of this firewall, of course, except the EAM, is supplied by Aviva. And this end-to-end view for integrated asset strategy management is something that we translate into a reality for most of our customers in the oil and gas, power, energy industry. Okay. And this is what I'm talking about. The single source of truth. You can have your 3D models, you can have all your KPIs at one place, you can have all your dashboards, you can have the early warnings, you can see your PI data here, you can see all the structured and non-structured data here, all of that at one place to give you end-to-end enterprise visibility and intelligence to help you drive your goals in a much faster and effective manner. With that, let me quickly, in the interest of time, come to some customers where we have made this into a reality. So Duke Energy is perhaps the biggest power company in the US. They have more than 60 sites producing almost 60,000 megawatt of power, and they have a lot of coal-based, fossil-based power plants, and they're also having some nuclear power plants. They have gone ahead and they also had Pi as the data platform to collect all the data. They have gone ahead and used Aviva Predictive Analytics on top of that as an enterprise, platform. And today they have received savings of more than $100 million. 65 is conservative, but they have been able to publish that it has now gone up to $100 million in benefits using this, and thereby also driving sustainability. So this is an example of a fossil-based, coal-based power plant, right? I'm now going to give an example of a hydro customer, because you also have a lot of hydro assets. So there's Ontario Power in Canada, where they have installed our predictive analytics system and AI-infused condition-based maintenance system on top of their Pi. And as of now, they have hosted everything on the cloud, and they have been able to save more than $100,000 in catches and 3,000 fewer annual maintenance hours. So really tangible, really important, reduced risk, increase their operational efficiency. And from a green energy perspective, let me talk to you about NN, which is perhaps the biggest power generation in renewable assets in Europe. So they have gone ahead and deployed our solutions around connected asset and connected content on top of 23 gigawatt of power, most of which is renewable. And today they are monitoring all their renewable assets within our technology and getting substantial value, thereby digitizing the operations, because once the pandemic had hit him, it forced the teams to work from home. So they wanted to identify which is a model which is sustainable and gives them resilient results. So I tried to give you 3 case studies, one from a conventional power generation, one from hydro, and one from other renewable assets, that can show you and demonstrate to you how they are using these 5 pillars of an integrated asset strategy management and driving value, tangible value for your assets, thereby protecting them, looking at it at the business data or business objectives, looking at your assets together, and looking at it and how it can help you. So with that, I want to thank you for your time today for the presentation. And because of your kind honor for inviting me for this presentation, I have something for you. We talk about APM and we talk about maturity, right? And we want to understand where you are versus where you want to go in the next 3 to 5 years when it talks about asset strategy management. So here is a link, and I can share this, and you can also scan this barcode. You can fill out a form, you can answer all the questions, and the system will generate for you what is your current asset management maturity level. Are you at time-based maintenance? Are you at condition-based maintenance? Are you at predictive maintenance? And on the basis of that, we can also help you define what could be the right roadmap for you. With that, I thank you for the time. I encourage you to fill this form. I hope you found this presentation useful, because in 30 minutes, I tried to set the framework for what would be a structured and successful integrated strategy asset management for you in today's world. And I look forward to any questions that you may have. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Verma, for this insightful presentation. Mungkin untuk rekan-rekan yang ingin ada bertanya, mungkin bisa langsung online atau bisa melalui chat.
I also want to introduce, while the questions come in, I also want to introduce our management team who is also on the call from Aviva, Mr. Sanjeev Dhinda. He is the head of sales for power industry for Southeast Asia and India, who is also on the call. So together we'll try to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay. There's
Good morning,
already
everyone. Good morning, everyone. This is Sanjeev, and we are so happy to be here on this platform. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, there's already one question from Pa Adityanto. In IPM 3.0, we perform any previously available reliability center maintenance or RCM activities? Is that the question?
Okay.
If it is APM 4.0, does maintaining physical asset continue to carry out the result of RCM activities? Or are we waiting for the result of APM 4.0 to step up in terms of improving physical asset?
Thank you. Thank you for the question, right? So I will try to, because I think both are connected, so I will try to answer it together. RCM as a concept is something that is done every 3 years. It is not a static strategy. Like when you look at reliability center maintenance, and if you look at SAJA 101112 guideline, it says that you have to constantly keep revisiting the strategy that or maintenance plan that you have developed. So if in the first part, when you say we perform any previously available RCM activities, we encourage and we hope that you might have done it. And what we are talking about is using that information to further enrich your APM 4.0 initiative, right? So APM 3.0 is not in isolation to APM 4.0. APM 4.0 is an evolution to APM 3.0. So when I showed you the connected content pillar, I spoke to you about your failure data and merging with industry best practice. So what Aviva has done for you is we have, for the last 20 years, we have done RCM and FMES for a lot of customers in oil and gas and power industry, and we have merged all that information in a library. So now you have access to that information, that how your other peers in the industry are looking at it when it comes to MTBF, MTTF. So I would say that this content with your content that you might have already done any RCMs can be a great starting point to understand how you need to maintain your assets going forward. And at the same time, you keep revisiting this every 2 years or 3 years on the RCMs, because you may identify new failure modes, thereby enriching your content library. And if you look at that end-to-end view that I showed you of how it comes together, the idea was your library keeps getting enriched with new RCMs. So we are not really waiting for the results of APM 4.0 to improve your physical assets. What we are talking about is APM 1.0, APM 2.0, APM 3.0 have given you the foundation, but APM 4.0 is all about connected. And when it is all connected, you have to not look at it only from standalone perspective. You have to look at it from a real-time perspective, connected perspective, look at predictive, condition monitoring, everything together to have a holistic outcome to this. So Aditya, I hope that answers your question.
And just to add, actually, this whatever you have done so far, it can be very much leveraged to create that continuity when you are looking at your longer term roadmap and trying to bring the connected strategy all together. So you are not going to lose out on anything what you have done, and it's a continuation of your approach, and all the information data whatever you have generated, that can be leveraged. So there is nothing you have to rip or replace. Yeah.
Thank you. Dadan, can we move to the next question? Or Aditya, if you have any other follow-up on this?
Thank you, Mr. Varun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we move to another question from Pak Andri from budgeting. How IPM can reach spare part cost reduction?
Thank you. Thank you, Pak Andri, for the question. And it's a very, very good question. So when it comes to spare parts, right? Again, I want to take you back to the slide of connected strategy. I told you that it's very important that we treat each asset differently, right? And what we do is we are as an APM as a concept is doing for you is helping you identify which are your high critical asset, which are your medium critical asset, and low critical asset. That becomes step one. Now, for your high critical asset, then we go ahead and help you define what is the optimum maintenance plan that you need to maintain so that your risks are not increased. Because I will tell you, there are certain customers which do over maintenance. What over maintenance means is the risk of your operations is going down, but your cost of operations are going up because you're constantly doing maintenance. There are companies which do under maintenance. In under maintenance, what happens is your cost of operations are going down, but your risk of failure and risk of your operations are going up. What asset performance management does for you is help you drive that balance of what should be the optimum level, balancing your risk and cost and performance together. So to answer your question, what we go ahead and do is, if today you are doing time-based maintenance every 6 months, we help you push it from an RCM strategy, balancing your risk and cost, maybe to 9 months and 10 months, and look at it and give you an upfront notification of when the equipment is going to fail or when the equipment is going to have a problem. And that is when you need to plan your spares accordingly. So we have across seen our customers that if you have a right strategy like this to understand and treat, because you cannot have 2,000 valves in a plant and treat all of them with same criticality and same way. You look at it at usage, you look at it at adoption, so look at it the condition, and then we tell you how much spares you need to have in your inventory so that you have the most optimum level available. So in this entire connected story, it is a very, very important part. Spares is a very important cost factor. And when you drive the right strategy, balancing your cost and risk and looking at RCM and looking at these approaches, it tells you how much space you should have in your inventory so that you're not doing too much. Exactly. So we don't need, because you are now predicting your failures well in advance, you're not moving towards unplanned downtime, you're moving towards a planned downtime and reducing your risk. Thank you. Exactly. Pandri, you got it. Exactly. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Pandri. The next question from Pa Rahmat Lubis, Vice President of Power Generation. Can Aviva integrate several asset management business process that are already running on different digital platforms?
Pa Rahmat, thank you so much for the question. I'm very happy about this question. So one of the reasons why Aviva has been a leader in the digital transformation space for so many decades is because we are completely technology agnostic. What I mean by that is you can have any system in the backend, whether you have it homegrown, whether you have EM from Maximo or SAP or Pi or any EHS system, any system that you have in the backend, we are able to integrate and connect. I showed you that example of a connected visualization screen. That is the front end that Aviva provides, like that command and control center that we built for one of our customers. But in the back end, every business was using different technologies, different techniques and different systems, sometimes homegrown, sometimes third-party systems, all. We have all the experience to bring it all together at a unified platform and connect it for you without having any dependency that it should be an Aviva technology. So Paramat, we have done this. Some of the case studies I can talk to you about is SCG Chemicals in Thailand, where they have set up a digital reliability platform connecting all the systems. We have ADNOC in the Middle East who has done something like this. Petronas, as of today, is implementing they call it an equipment operation center instead of a unified operation center. So they're calling it an EOC. So they are pulling in all the equipment related data to start off with, but then they will expand it to an exhaustive command and control system. So Paramat, I hope that answers your question. Thank you. Okay, I think there's the next question, Paramat.
Yeah, next question. Yeah, continuing from Pa Andri question. Based on high level APM, in what level we need the spare part level equipment, main component, moving part? For example, is it possible we spare our main equipment like pump or fan or a transformer?
Yeah, so I think it's absolutely possible. I think the spares that goes to is, I think the structure we follow is level 6, if I'm not wrong. So what we go ahead and look at is we can go ahead and tell you what level of spares you require. Is it at an equipment level or a component level or a moving part level? We help you define what is required. Again, it all comes down to how you are managing your asset. And that is the beauty about asset management, right? It's different for every customer. What I am going to do is look at your data, your operations, your utilization, show you the benchmark from the industry, and combined look at it and holistically and explain to you, okay, for this at an equipment level, what are the spares you need to maintain? At a moving component level, what are the spares you need to maintain? And you said, for example, is it possible we spare one main equipment like pump or fan or transformer? It can be, right? Redundancy is also a strategy that can be developed from a connected strategy, so that you can have a standby sometimes, or you can have a spare one available, which you can use, especially when one of the equipment goes down. But I will have to look at your data. I will have to look at your failure modes. I'll have to look at the kind of issues you are facing that is helping you to, that is forcing you to go towards unplanned downtime. And then I can tell you for you, okay, whether you need to have a redundancy as a strategy, or preventive maintenance, or prescriptive maintenance, or corrective maintenance, depending on criticality. So, Familia, I hope that answers the question.
Okay. No more questions. Well, I think that this is quite interesting that we have an insight that to have a successful integrated asset strategy management, we need the 5 pillars.
Exactly. So the 5 pillars are very, very important, right? And I try to keep it. It is not that you have to do, let me put it this way in summary, right? It is not that you have to do all 5 pillars together. You do it in steps, you do it in phases. But when you look at that pillar holistically. Don't look at one piece in separation, because when I showed you that end-to-end view, it is all eventually connected. It all comes together, and it needs to come together. But my recommendation would be, let's say, look at something like predictive analytics to start off with, right? And I'll tell you why. Because it will help you identify your equipment problems, help you improve your asset management practice. Start off with that. Once you have done that, look at, let's say, RCM. You are already doing RCM, but move towards systems where you can do RCM, spare optimization, root cause analysis, then move towards connected worker. Look at connected visualization in the end. So do it in phases. And remember the end goal with which we are working, right? The 5 pillars that needs to come together. And I think I would also suggest that please go ahead and fill out that maturity link that I shared you. It is very important to help you answer questions for yourself, okay? What is your maintenance strategy? What is your spare strategy? Everything. And we can then look at it as a starting point to tell you how we can improve on that. Okay. I think there's a question also.
Yeah. From Pasugeng.
What are alternative tools to manage connecting to those 5 pillars? Pasugeng, I don't understand the questions. Are you talking about technology that is required for those pillars, or you're talking about something else? If you could please elaborate, because the 5 pillars that I showed you is irrespective of technology, right? It is the concept. Like you do condition-based maintenance, you do predictive maintenance. These are methodologies that you need to implement. But Aviva, of course, has a capability to give you that back-end technology for all the 5 pillars. But should you require any more clarification on this, I would really appreciate if you can give me some more time and we can talk more. Because as of now, I don't understand what you mean by alternative tools to manage those 5 pillars.
Yes. Sugeng speaking here.
Yes.
So thanks a lot for this. In my view, that there is very difficult to do the connecting of those 5 pillars without any tools, because today, if we look on the sensor, is billion sensor from the power plant.
Yes.
If we look the people, is a lot of also people that working on the plant. So many of those is a big job for this.
Yes, I understand. Okay.
And then the question is, the tools that we're trying to see, does it specific from Aviva, or there is a sort of the generic tools that we are able to do this?
So, Pasugeng, I got your question now. Thank you. So you're absolutely right? When it comes to people, when it comes to the process data, your maintenance data, there is so much information that needs to come together. Aviva, I can tell you, and I know we did not have time today, but Aviva can give you the tools to do this, all 5 pillars end to end. Okay, but there are other vendors and other tools in the market also that you can use for some of the pillars. But if you want somebody to do, one player or one partner to do all the 5 pillars, I think Aviva is the only player in the market who can do all the 5. But let's say for a connected worker perspective, for example, there are players in the market that can give you like a handheld device for your operator now, right? That's possible. And you should use that if it is economical and makes sense for you. And this goes back to Par Ahmed's question that can we go ahead and integrate to any system together across business? And that's exactly right. Even if you choose some other technology for your connected worker, or even if you choose some other technology for your condition monitoring or your dashboarding, Aviva in the end can connect it all together and bring it all together to a unified platform for you. And all that workflow and connection that I showed you, we can make that a reality for you possibly. So we can do that. Hope that answers Parsudev. Thank you. I think there's also one more comment from Familia. Spare just because of wonder, not based on data. Is it possible? Actually, it is, right? So even if I don't have your data, like I told you, the failure data library that I bring, which is the industry benchmark data, you can use that to understand, okay, if it's a steam turbine, what are the kind of mean time to failure and what is the MTBF information for OEM 1, OEM 2, OEM 3, right? You can see that information and you can use to build that on your strategy, but I will always question that it is absolutely accurate, right? Because some other customer who is operating differently will have a different mean time between failures versus how you are operating your plant, and your mean time between failure might be different. So of course, the content library that we bring to the table has that information and can be a great starting point for you to utilize. But I hope gradually we connect it with your data to understand, okay, what is your problem and what are your assets and what are your mean time between failures, to be able to understand how much spares you need to have. Okay, question is from Asif Yan. Is there any qualification standard and certification for people who assigned to operate the asset management? Okay, great question. Each technology or each pillar holistically has different standards and certifications. For example, if I talk to you about connected strategy, and when you do things like RCM and FMEA, it talks about certification around SAE, JA 1011 and 1012, right? That is the framework and that is the standard that is followed. It is very difficult to do that, let's say, for a predictive analytics system. But if you look at it from a framework perspective, you're already doing ISO 55000, which is great. There are few more standards that have come in the market, which we are also exploring. Even let's say for your boilers or even for your static assets, you have American Petroleum Institute guidelines of API, RBI. So all of that is there. So each technology might have a different standard, but holistically, APM is a concept which has evolved consistently in the last few years. And if you look at it, the 5 pillars, I think it will give you the benefit that you're looking at. I see there is one more question. Yeah. Based on APM 4.0, how our companies will be able to implement an asset strategy to avoid unplanned downtime for a more important asset, while also dividing which preventive or corrective asset strategy is the best course of action, and how accurate is this decision? Great question. And again, I think this is exactly what I was trying to talk to you when I said connected strategy. So let me reiterate. We first of all go ahead and to avoid your unplanned downtime, we have tools around predictive analytics like artificial intelligence and machine learning backed, which uses these digital trends and gives you an early warning sign of an equipment problem. And I showed you example of Duke Energy, NL, or Ontario Power in different power verticals, how they are using that to improve their unplanned downtime. Duke Energy total has achieved more than $100 million savings from early warning detection of the equipment problem. Now, when it comes to deciding the preventive strategy or corrective strategy, the system has a simulation tool, first of all, which tells you when you should repair an asset versus when you should replace an asset. It looks at your asset life cycle cost, and in a connected strategy, that simulation is helping you decide, okay, is run to failure the best strategy, or is planned maintenance the best strategy, or predictive maintenance is the best strategy? So based on the criticality, again, I bring it down to criticality. You cannot treat all your assets the same. Depending on the criticality, depending on your data, depending on your condition, you go ahead and decide what is the right maintenance strategy, and you simulate that to see what is the impact on risk, cost, and performance together. So I would say it is pretty accurate. It is industry proven. This is not something that has come in together. The integrated strategy asset management has been in the industry for almost 20-25 years. It's very proven. It's very sustainable and scalable. So I would say it is pretty accurate to use.
Okay, this is a really interesting topic, so that we have many questions, but unfortunately the time is up.
I understand.
Okay, this is very insightful and open our understanding about the APM and 5 pillars.
Yes.
Thank
Please
you.
feel free to reach out to me anytime you want to talk to me and get more into details of the pillars. And again, like I said, I encourage you to please fill out that assessment for yourself to understand what is your current maturity, and we can also take it up from there. With that, I thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for your time today, and I hope you found this presentation very insightful, and I look forward to speaking with all of you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Indonesia Power, we'd like to thank to Mr. Varun Verma and Pak Sanjeev Dinda. Thank you and very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, everyone, and we look forward to continue our interaction. And thanks a lot. Please reach out if you have any more questions. Thank you.
We want to remember we will take picture first. So for all participants,
please open your camera first.
Yeah, camera.
Yeah, and then we're going to take picture. First pose, all like this. Okay.
Yeah, two
thumbs up. I count to 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Verma, Mr. Dadang Gumbira.
Terima kasih banyak, Pak Dadang.
Baiklah Bapak dan Ibu sekalian yang kami hormati, sebelumnya kami ingin mengingatkan kepada Bapak dan Ibu sekalian senior leader yang belum menandatangani komitmen gratifikasi 4T dan SMAP ya. Mohon untuk dapat menandatangani komitmen tersebut. Nanti link dokumen akan segera di-share di Zoom chat.
Iya, sudah dikirimkan ya Mas?
Iya, betul. Dan Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, demikianlah seluruh rangkaian acara rapat koordinasi awal tahun 2022 PT Indonesia Power. Semoga sharing session yang telah tadi kita saksikan bersama dapat memberikan wawasan dan juga pencerahan bagi kita untuk dapat menjalankan strategi-strategi yang kemarin dan hari ini sudah ditetapkan.
Amin, amin ya rabbal alamin.
Sekali lagi kami ucapkan terima kasih kepada Bapak dan Ibu sekalian.
Dan kami mohon kepada Bapak Ibu sekalian untuk kembali ke ruang Zoom meeting yang sama tepat pada pukul 13.00 waktu Indonesia Barat untuk melanjutkan acara Malam 1001. Jangan kemana-mana, siapkan diri Anda untuk menyaksikan kejutan dalam penyampaian Statement A Indonesia Power Annual Cycle 2022.
Baiklah, selamat beristirahat. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sampai jumpa kembali nanti.
Sampai jumpa. Ya, langsung kurang.